and they say I have a grim sense of humor.
And welcome, guys, to the Nameless Gauntlet, Nameless Org, Mythic Typhoon Gauntlet. I am Fluffyhair, and here with me on this lovely day, we have our main man, Krakadonius. How's it going, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you doing? That's what I would really want to know.
Me, I'm doing pretty good. I mean, we just got some freezing rain where I'm at, so it's like super slippery out there. But you know, we're staying inside. We're staying toasty.
Of course, man. That's what we like to hear. Looking forward to this Platinum Gauntlet today. We are in the quarterfinals here. We have Going Ghost on ice, and we have TGL, I believe it is. So looking forward to this game number 1, man. Yeah, it's TGL. So you know, looking forward. Oh yeah, XGL. My bad. Yeah. Close enough, honestly. You know, we'll get there. A little bit rusty, but we're looking forward to it here for the quarterfinals. And I've personally never casted with you, my man. So, you know, tell me, you know, what are you looking forward to for this first game?
Well, I'm looking forward to the ban. Right now, we already actually started picking ban, just so that way we can kind of get going on the pick and bans. But Ash, Lux, Annie already banned out. Rel, Heimerdinger answered on red side, and now with a Wukong priority pick, and now we're going to first pick Caitlyn. I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of Caitlyn, I'll be honest, but still pretty strong ADC overall.
Yeah, definitely. You know, obviously, I think it's changed a little bit over the last couple patches, but you know, Caitlyn, you know, Varus, a lot of like ranged champions were pretty solid there over the last few patches. So you know, it's definitely it can be a strong lane bully if given the chance. And there's the Varus coming out here on the other side. I like that matchup personally for the side of the Varus, and then the Mumu lock-in could be flexed into the jungle, could be flexed into support. Also a really solid pick there to be early game because you can use it in multiple different ways. But you know, I guess we're gonna have to see what they end up answering with here. I assume it's going to be something like either like a counter mage, like a Morgana, but could be something like the Jarvan to look for more engaged potential for their team as well, because you have so much ability to be able to kind of get on top of people with that Jarvan pick, similar to how the Amumu would play. But right now, looking pretty good for Going Ghost on Ice in terms of these drafts so far. The Galio pick coming through, that could be mid, that could be support even as well. Goes pretty well with the Caitlyn with the amount of CC that they do have. So
very good with the Jarvan too because of the combo, Jarvan ulti into Galio ulti. Pretty it's a standard wombo combo. I really like the Jarvan ulti as well, specifically with the Varus and Mumu, just because those two are kind of immobile. The only escape tool Mumu has besides his own flash is his bandage toss, and if he misses that, then he's just stuck inside there. But Poppy, very, very good with a lot of these dashes coming in. A good pickup for Going Ghost, because you have the Galio dash, the Jarvan dash, and also Caitlyn net. A lot of stuff can be stopped already.
Yeah, definitely true. There are a lot of opportunities for that to kind of stop those dashes. Even, as you said, the Caitlyn net. So another flex pick here. You could go Poppy jungle, you could go Poppy top, you could go Poppy support, you could go Mumu jungle, you could go Mumu support. So you really don't know where these picks are going, which I think is a pretty big advantage for them, especially going into these next few picks. You don't really know what you're banning. You could be banning in the top lane, you could be banning support, you could be banning jungle picks. So you see a pretty, I think, broad ban here in the Gangplank. Obviously can go into the mid lane and the top lane there. And if both laners are playing that on Going Ghost on Ice, it makes a lot of sense to be able to come out there and use it. Going Ghost on Ice is going for a different approach, banning these supports out. As I said, Galio could be flexed into that support role. So we'll have to see how that works out with the Blitzcrank and the Zillion getting banned. But I think that overall it's looking like he's most likely going to be in the mid lane here. But we'll have to see how these next few picks go as well. Obviously, Red has this next pick here, which is going to, I think, probably dictate whether that Galio is going to be going support or mid. Probably going to be,
wow.
This is interesting. So this could
Varus
actually
mid.
Yeah, it could be a Varus mid now, which I think really changes up. I think you'd rather go Galio support here actually into something like a Varus mid, because it doesn't really do well, because he doesn't have a lot of AP. I mean, he could technically build AP if you want to, but I feel like the most recent builds have been either poke or on hit for the most part. We do see a Thresh lock in here, which means that is going to be a Galio mid. However, and this is going to be a really interesting matchup, the Thresh versus the potential Amumu Zeri bot lane, which I feel like is a pretty bad matchup actually for the Thresh, trying to kind of get in their face, and that's exactly what a Zeri likes doing, especially with her Q ability, kind of doing that damage, especially when people are a lot closer, does a lot more damage quicker. So and it has also the ability to kind of run them down if they overcommit. But overall, Thresh Caitlyn, a solid lane, solid engaged lane there. We see the Swain coming in the mid lane there for our last pick. So
Yeah, Swain top. It has to be Swain top, Varus mid, Poppy jungle, and Mumu support.
So my thought here is Poppy top, a Mumu jungle, Swain mid, Zeri Varus bot lane.
Zeri Varus bot lane.
So Varus support has been it's gained a lot of popularity recently, so I wouldn't doubt if that was played, especially in something like a Plat League. We do have a prediction in the chat as well, guys, if you guys want to vote with your channel points for game number 1. Who do you guys think are going to win? Going Ghost on Ice versus XGL. Let us know your thoughts as well in the chat. But I want to know, Fluffy, what are your thoughts for this game? Who do you think is going to win?
It's going to be an absolute slobber knocker. I think it's going to be a pure fiesta. Everybody's going to be brawling 24/7. You got the Scion. He's probably going to be building Heartsteel, so he wants to get that brawl going. You got the Thresh for the Flay, so that way you can get away with the Mumu and try and get away with the Poppy from going on you. But then at the same time, you got the Poppy canceling out a lot of these dashes from the Jarvan engage. So overall, it's just going to be down to execution. And when it comes to execution, I do think that blue side comp for XGL is going to be easier to pull off. I think red side needs a couple of pieces to really start to move for them to actually get to a comfortable spot in the game. So it is Poppy top.
Yeah.
So that means it has to be a Mumu jungle.
Yeah.
That you are right. It is a Zeri Varus bot lane. That is wild.
I guess it could technically be a Swain support too, right? It could be a Swain Zeri bot lane. I guess it really depends. There's a lot of flexibility in this comp too, so it's like maybe. well, I guess we'll have to see how these picks end up going through, but very interesting comps from these two teams for the first game. So I guess we'll have to see how it ends up working out, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's Zeri, Varus bot lane. That is something I haven't seen myself yet. So definitely, I'm excited to see how that's gonna play out. Usually, you see a lot of these like ADC style supports, specifically against Heimerdinger. You usually don't see them just randomly picked unless it's an Ashe support, just because of the hawk shot and also the ability you can spam your W, and also because of how low you can get that ultimate cooldown on. But besides that, like usually like the Jhin support or the Caitlyn support or even the Azir support, that's usually answers towards Heimerdinger and his turrets. Having it just kind of unforced and put onto Varus support, it's definitely going to be first time I've seen that. Mattson hopefully has a couple of games on that, and I mean, hopefully he proves me wrong that it's and shows me that he's just an absolutely broken role, and then you know what, I might have to pull it out in solo queue.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's necessarily like a broken role. I think Varus is just a really good champ right now, especially with his mana buffs over the last few patches, and then just his overall kind of I guess he had like a lot of item buffs too, you know what I mean? So I feel like he got these slow buffs that weren't really noticed, but they kind of built up over time to where he's like a pretty solid champ right now. I mean, you saw it kind of at Worlds as well, where he was played pretty significantly, especially going into the later rounds. And then you're seeing it here in this early season as well, getting pretty high priority pick, both in the ADC and the support role, and even sometimes, being flexed over to that mid. I guess for me though, I think you're right, with a lot of like kind of point and click abilities, with the Jarvan, you can follow it up with the Galio very easy, follow it up with the Scion very easily, even the Thresh, getting people on top of them really quickly with that Lantern. So I guess we'll see how it ends up working out. For me, I really do like the side of going Ghost on Ice, so I think that's going to be my pick here, just because I like this comp. I like the ability to kind of try something new. As you said, the Varus hasn't really been seen a lot. I think I've seen a lot in high elo. I've seen a lot in things like that as well, but it's still relatively uncommon for the most part here. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that plays out. And I think if it works well, it could be really good for this team, and that's why I think I'm going to go with them for game one.
All right, we got a split panel. I mean, as simple as that. But yeah, we're just waiting to load up into Spectate tool here. We got to go wait for the spectator delay. So I think we're going to shoot back for a quick little break, and then we'll meet you guys back here ready for game one. And welcome back, guys, to game number 1 of this amazing Typhoon Gauntlet. We got XGL and Going Ghost on ice. Right now, we're looking at the very classic 5-point start. I would have liked to see a little bit of a shenanigans from either side, but it looks like we are going to see some early vision being traded.
Yeah, and this is actually pretty good for the side of XGL here. Getting a little bit of gold into their pocket. Obviously, getting that creep score as well onto Scion early. Can't go wrong with that as well. Getting a little bit of extra gold into his. Overall, I think this early game is really going to depend on how these junglers are pathing, right? Both of them have pretty solid early game presence if they want to. Obviously, a Mumu could just farm for 6, but I think that they have the ability to go in level 2, level 3, looking for that all-in, especially with the Mumu Qs, the EQ from the Jarvan as well, and really looking to set things up. But overall, a little bit of trading of vision in this early game, but I think it's going to really come down to these pathing of these junglers, and it looks like maybe a little bit of cheese coming from this bot lane too.
Yeah, it looks like they just decided to go against it and not confident in their level 1 ability. But yeah, the early ward actually is not only going to be for gold, but also for the XP. But good trade overall in the bot lane. Yeah, this is the danger of picking an ADC support. Not very tanky at all. You get caught out, you get popped. Now, Sion does get level 2 on this first wave because he was able to kill that that ward. So I wonder if Poppy is aware of this.
Yeah, and he should just be able to get it off this first wave, as you were saying. And if he does, if she doesn't respect that quite enough, could definitely be an all-in potential. We'll have to see here, though, how it ends up working out. He is going for a really hard trade here. Knows his limits on the champion right now. Does hit that 2. And going to try to go for a lot of damage. Poppy, obviously this early game isn't the best champion, but continues to scale very well up with this Scion. Should basically go even with him for a majority of the game until he gets those stacks really racking up into that health as well. So we'll have to see, how that ends up working out in that mid to late game. But I feel like overall they scale about evenly until you get to like a super late game where that Scion just will outscale everybody because of his infinite scaling. However, it looks like we do have Jarvan here in the bot lane for this early, and so is a Mumu as well. Could be a nice
flash flay, and the instant exhaust, but the hook lands onto the minion, and that's going to be it for that. A flash now traded in the support and support. But an engage into the mid lane, we do see the taunt coming through. Now he's going to be going with the Aftershock proc and a couple more autos to trade. One more, and a couple Qs left, and that's going to be it. But really well trade by Hopium against Susanj.
Yeah, and Hopium now might be in a little bit of trouble. The Amumu is nearby, but they're just going to show themselves. I don't know really what the reasoning was for that. Obviously, I think they could have gotten the upper hand on Hopium if they knew that. But maybe, sussed it out a little bit too quickly. Cannel didn't want to waste too much time on that early gank. The death sentence is not going to hit there.
No, a little bit wide on that. Ooh. Trying to go for a flay because he had no death sentence, but not in range. Good poke overall from the bot lane. And top side, though, like I said, an absolute brawl here. The wet noodle fight. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, we are going to get another taunt. The flash is available. He does commit it. And that's going to be a flash for naught in the mid lane. Definitely a repeat gank area you want to get. And a hook lands onto Zeri. Now the flare is going to go through, able to knock her out of the wall, but the heal is going to be dropped from the Varus to keep her safe. A lot of autos going through. The minion aggro is insane. A flash forward from the Caitlyn trying to get the more auto. Gets the last auto onto him. First blood for Prim against Matson on the Varus support.
Wow, and Prim with a very, very nice play there. Being able to pick that up with, pretty good follow-up from the Thresh as well, but he was focusing mostly on the Zeri while the 1v1 for Prim versus Matson there was able to kind of go off. And we do know early, Caitlyn's going to absolutely bully these types of champions when she's able to get them in a one versus one scenario, when she's able to get her full combo off, and that's exactly what she was able to do there. So really good heads-up play by Prim to, find the right focus there, even though Improvise was looking at that Zeri there of Beedel, but really not able to find a good overall play on them. Now Phoenix might be a little bit caught out here.
Yeah, Phoenix trying to just finesse something, but it does look like the roam from Hopium is going to be enough to be able to dissuade Can from doing anything else. A dash forward onto Karatana. A nice Q lance. There's no dash, so the W doesn't really do much. A lot of damage getting traded into the top lane. He just keeps it with autos. The Corrupting Pot is ticking. A huge shield, but is it going to be enough? She's just in the middle of the wave. She might just end up going down here. Even if Sign goes inside, yeah, it's just going to be an easy solo bolo.
We love the solo bolo coming out, and that is also going to be Dragon #1 going over to the side of this XGL team. They seem to have all the pace so far in this game. Up already 600 gold, 6 minutes in, 100 gold a minute. That is a pretty solid start for them. But right now, looking to be a very nice early game for this team. However, that's what they're meant to do for a lot of these champions here. You know, you have the Caitlyn, you have the Thresh that are meant to be that early game engage, bully duo there in the bot lane. They're even in CS right now, but they are up that 1 kill, and they are up a little bit of lane pressure as well, which means quite a bit here. But now, Prim might be a little bit too far forward.
Yeah, lands a hook, and it is going to be on Matson, but Prim is a little bit too far forward, like you stated. The exhaust is dropped. Caitlyn is just trying to run away, but the Q lands, and that's going to be cleansed. Wasted completely. Bedell is able to pick up that one, and Matson absolutely kill steals the second kill. It's now completely even in the kill score, and also now the Goldie, it is taken over for Going Ghost.
Yeah, I feel like if you're going to give I don't think this is going to be anything, but I feel like if you're going to give a kill over to a support, a Varus support's probably the thing you want to give it over to. He's just going to scale extremely well with gold, similar to something like a Senna support, you know, in terms of the amount of damage that he's able to output, you know, with his lethality build that I assume he's going to be going here, you know, along with everything else that they're going to be able to do. So I feel like if you're going to give those kills over, that's not the worst thing. There definitely could be worse supports like the Thresh on the other side here. Getting kills would not be good. But a pretty big misplay there, actually, from the side of Improvise and Prim. Prim just getting a little bit too far forward. Actually missed a Q onto Matson there. That could have potentially been the kill. I know Matson got pretty low on that Varus. I think a Q on the Caitlyn, especially since it was a solo damage Q, would have done quite a bit. Might actually picked up the kill. So an unfortunate miss there from Prim. A little bit of lack of, you know, a little bit of stability there to be able to find that that mark there, unfortunately, and just off of it. But now 2 kills to 2, pretty even back now that they have found something here. Going Ghost on ice, looking to find even more. Hopium, nice dodge there in the mid lane. But now 8 minutes into the game.
The flash forward onto the Jarvan does miss the EQ, but they knock up the ult. He's going to come through. The Galio is now ulting in. A good dodge away from the damage, and that's going to be Hopium picking up the kill on Sunj.
Yeah, the 3v1 there in the mid lane.
Ooh,
very
flash
nice.
committed. No cleanse on the Caitlyn because she had used it earlier on, and that's just going to be her going down. Really good Q from Can. Although I'll be honest, I'm not sure if that should have hit. I thought she was behind some minions.
I agree with that. I don't think that first Q actually mattered because the Curse of the Mummy was coming out right after that, right? And so he was gonna get CC'd there regardless. I just couldn't believe that got through the minion wave there. I absolutely dumbfounded me at the end of the day. And now it looks like they might go for a little bit of cheese here. And if that's the case, this Caitlyn's gonna be in a lot of trouble in this bot lane.
Caitlyn will have flash up for this, so she should be able to escape it eventually. But it does look like the commit is going to be pulled out, and Amumu's just going to stand more hover than actually try and commit for this. Mid lane, just a couple more trading happening, you know. Not much excitement until, but we are going to get cheese. The ulti does come through, no cleanse on him, and it's just going to be another easy kill. And that's just how hard it can be punished when you use your cleanse. So interesting in the river like that.
Yeah, definitely true there. You'd like to see her be able to have that, you know, reactionary flash that's almost impossible coming out from the bush. That's why you have the cleanse, right? So, you know, having her use it in a situation where she was most likely dead anyway is a little bit unfortunate. Will be up for the next time she is in lane. But, you know, we need to see, I think now with this, especially with this Varus being 3-1, Zeri is 1-0-3 as well. They have a lot of gold in their pocket and a pretty large gold advantage here now that they're up about 20 CS there in that bot lane as well. Gonna need to see this Caitlyn play a lot more safe if they want to continue to stay in this game. Almost a 1,500 gold lead for them at the moment. You know, sitting right in between that and 1,000 for the moment. But you know, they're gonna need to find something, maybe a gank like this Jarvan's looking to set up here shortly. But they do have a nice
the roam
vision ward here in tier 2 as well. You know, could potentially find a roam, as you said. Looks like they're going to cancel off of it for now, but the Jarvan is still there. Does have a ward here in the tier 2, though. If he pushes up too far, we'll be able to find that very quickly, but looks like they're looking for a little bit of a bait at the end of the day. A 3v3 could be coming up here shortly, as well as Mumu has now
4v4, I think, because the Galio's in the area, and now the Swain spots it out, though, so the Swain's going to room over, but the Galio's still here, recalling. Yeah, it's going to be very hard to catch out to Zeri, mostly because, like you said, the gold is pretty massive, and now she has full boots completed versus Sivir's brown bags of sadness. So it's definitely going to be really, really hard to catch the Zeri out when she has all this mobility already in her kit, plus having a full set of boots ahead of both your support, your jungler, and your AD.
Yep. And a very nice vision plant there from the Jarvan, as well as the wet noodle fight is starting to not become much of that, as the Silence doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, going in for some aggressive trades, dropping her down to below half HP, potentially a dive. Jarvan does blast cone over. He is looking for something potentially, but Poppy is able to escape, just dropping the Herald. Potentially this is going to be first tower, I would assume.
Yeah, I think this is actually a pretty good trade. As you can see, this bot lane is starting up the dragon for the side of Team Red. So getting a little bit of topside priority as a result of that. You know, they trade the first tower for that first dragon for the side of Team Going on Ice here. And I think it's going to be, Going Ghost on Ice. And so
Hook lands onto Swain. Swain is just canceling the recall, nothing else. But
that was a blind hook. That's kind of nasty. I mean, I know they had a little bit of like area of knowing that he could potentially be there, but very nice, you know, look there on the death sentence. We're going to continue to need to see things like that though here. Oh,
okay.
He just saved him. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you, Poppy. You know, let him get to his other camps quicker, I guess.
Yeah.
But a very interesting play there by the Poppy. Doesn't really do anything. I know he was trying to save the red, but didn't actually end up doing anything at all there at the end of the day. And now these two junglers trying to fight for priority around the map, and it seems like so far this Amumu has done a little bit better of a job here. However, the Jarvan is up in that farm department so far, about 4 camps up at this point. So not a bad place to be in, despite being a little bit behind on the tempo of this Amumu. So I guess we'll continue to see how it ends up working out. Gold is absolutely even, though, 13 and 45 seconds into this game. And I think it's really going to come down to these priority over these objectives. Obviously, we've seen Rift Herald get taken by XGL here in this early game, get that first turret on the game. I think that's exactly what they need to do. But we're going to need them to, I think, potentially here find a little bit of bot lane priority, which is exactly what they're trying to do. Continue to push in this wave as much as you can, because if you get pushed in, you're going to get continually poked out by the Varus, by the Zeri. They're going to want to poke you underneath this tower. So I think they need to continue to push as they're doing and try to keep it out from underneath their tower as much as possible.
Looks like Thresh is going to go for some vision clearing here, but the Swain is going to catch him out with the E. Not much, actually, and the hook goes wide. Not much exciting. They're probably going to see a big fight happen around the dragon in 2 minutes' time, roughly. Or maybe even a Herald fight, but I highly doubt it. First Herald's definitely worth. Second Herald, unless you have a split pusher, not so much.
Yeah.
Tower goes down onto the bot side, and that's more gold into the Zeri's pocket.
Yeah, and we see the pings coming out on this Rift Herald number 2 rather for Going Ghost. I think it's something that they need to challenge here. They are about even in terms of overall gold. You see these ADCs are both finishing their first items here on that last back. both junglers as well. Amumu might be a little bit behind on that first item, but Jarvan has finished his first as well as these top laners kind of flip-flopping in the exact opposite fashion here. So we're
Yeah,
gonna
of
have to
course,
see how this first one kind of works out here, because I think this big fight here could potentially go either way, because this gold is so even.
Well, I mean, it could go, I think, very favorably for blue side, considering Sion has TP and the Poppy does not. So if they do decide to pull the trigger and Sion is able to channel that TP, that's going to be very, very rough for them. But then again, the Sion does have the Walmart bargain bin item set. Does not have a full completed item just quite yet. But a lot of posturing, a lot of dancing happening around here. The Herald is actually already started by the Jarvan. I'm not sure if anybody knows yet. They're running into the river trying to see if anything's happening, but nothing yet.
Ooh.
It's not even halfway through. Poppy is nowhere to be able to stop the Sion from TP. Sion TPing into the mid lane. Now we're going to see the guy who taunts absolutely nothing. The Swain E goes through. The knockup's onto the Mumu. Now we're looking at Jarvan joining into the fight onto the Varus. Poppy actually did get her TP back up in time. And now it's going to be 1 kill going down. 2 kills. It's going to be jungle for jungler. Both going down. Now it's going to be the Galio potentially going down himself. But no, he's going to be dashing away to safety. The knockup not quite there. And it's just going to be a lot of blinking health bars for XGL. Going Ghost, doing a really good job of pressuring them off this. And Herald is not taking just quite yet. It does look like Matson's going to start it up. A lot of recalls coming through. Galio does not have his TP. Hopium is not going to be able to join this fight. And they're just going to get this Herald.
Yeah, that is going to be Herald going over to Going Ghost here. Very nice, I would say, team fight win there for them, even though they didn't really... you know, it was 1-for-1. It was relatively even. However, they do get the health bar advantage there at the end of the fight, and they are going to be able to secure this Rift Herald effectively. And pings are going down to this second dragon as well. Oh,
Poppy getting caught out and not using her W in time, then using her W just the very tail end. Could have been very dangerous for her. Would have been better and would have been able to save her flash if she just used her W on the Galio knockup. Or even the Jarvan if she was able to predict that, but it does look like the Dragon's going to be traded for the Herald. And honestly, if I'm red side, I do prefer that trade overall, the Dragon over the Herald. So they're sitting not in a great spot, because early Herald is good because you can get that plate and also that first tower out of the way. But the second Herald, you don't get the plate gold anymore. It's just good for knocking down some towers and sieging. Meanwhile, the Dragon helps you with your scaling, and now they're just 2 dragons away from Soul Point.
yeah, I definitely agree with you there. And as you said, you know, it's good for sieging, but they don't really have a good siege comp here. Like, Zeri can kind of take towers. Varus can kind of take towers, but they don't have a lot of, like, high damage onto turrets like you would like to see. You know, even from the other team has a lot more damage on these turrets. I feel like if XGL got it, it might have been game over, so maybe that's why they're looking for it here. The death sentence just barely missing on that Thresh there. I thought it might have been one of those magnetic hooks where it kind of doesn't look like it quite hit it, but it does because of the hitboxes.
The lollipop effect.
Yeah, yep. And an interesting call here.
Oh.
They're just going for
Sion ulting through. He's going to be getting a huge knockup onto the Zeri and the Mumu. Lands 3-man knockup onto this one as well. The Heart Steel is proc now. That's going to be the first kill going down. That's going to be Candle going down. Soon's going to be coming up next. Jarvan trying to get the damage across, but not quite enough. He actually ends up going down to the Poppy himself. Now the Poppy's just in the fray, taking up a lot of damage, but not quite enough to break her down to a kill. And now it's going to be red side with a lot of blinking health bars. And again, we're seeing these trades, jungler for jungler.
Man, this is so close, all these fights. And now mid-turret for mid-turret, these teams are taking just jabs at each other. You know, right hooks coming left and right on both of these teams. 20 minutes in to this game now, and we are still dead even. No clear winner from a lot of these fights as well. You know, you might go 1-for-1, but they're getting the mid-turret at the beginning. They're getting the mid-turret at the end. The Rift Herald, I feel like, could have been used a lot better there, especially for this team that has potential to look at, you know, team fighting. So using it at the end of a team fight potentially rather than at the beginning. They didn't have the Curse of the Sad Mummy go off in that fight, and I feel like that's a big ultimate that they need to have there, as well as that you know, the chains of corruption from the Varus to be able to find these either engage or anti-engage in a lot of these fights, and they're just not using them. And I feel like these are the kind of things that they need to be using consistently in these team fights if they want to find big wins.
Oh, yeah. Really good ulti also by Kartana.
Yep.
Insane from the side, able to get 2 knockups into a 3-man knockup. It's good stuff overall. So I think San's a very underrated champion right now in the meta. Not many people are willing to play him, but definitely a super safe blind in my opinion.
Yep. Yeah, I feel like it's something that it's going to be tanky for you. It's going to do a decent amount of damage. And if you need to, it can be a very hard split push champion to deal with as well, especially with that ultimate. As you said, it's unstoppable. You're not really going to be able to keep him from getting away if he wants to, 9 times out of 10, right? Unless you're using a couple summoners or whatever. And even if that's the case, he's still going to have 4,000 HP to be able to, hopefully walk away and survive in most cases there. But you are going to have to keep an eye on him because if he gets these waves pushed too much, if the Galio gets these waves pushed too much, they have a very nice 1-3-1 composition with the ability to get on top of people really quick with these semi-global ultimates coming from both the Galio and the Scion to kind of just hit a go button whenever they want to, which is kind of what you were talking about in this pregame. They have a lot easier of an engage coming from, a lot of these teams. If you hit the Cataclysm on the Jarvan, you can immediately hit that Galio right on top, and you can, serve justice to the enemy team, right? And so it's going to be, interesting to see going into this mid game now. How are these side lanes going to look? How is this 5v5 going to look if, Team Red continues to try to
Oh my god, the flash and the flag and drag. That was so very interesting. Chain Corruption going through. He ults onto Zeri, who's one of the few champions that can get out of the ulti. Meanwhile, we're having a split fight right now. Both the Scion and the Caitlyn both putting down damage, able to take out Candle, but Scion is already way too low to keep the fight going. Swain is now in there, able to just absolutely eviscerate Prim, and now it's going to be improvised, but it looks like he's going to be going down to the Poppy, able to kite him out, and now it's going to be double kill for Sunj. That's going to be a 4-for-1 trade. I'm not exactly sure what Phoenix was doing. He just kind of flagged and then threw a Q and then just chased them down, ulted the Zeri.
Yeah, he kind of just missed everything there and still tried to go for it, and they still tried to follow it up. Didn't end up working out, obviously, there. And now you're seeing they're going to get a free Baron. They're looking to potentially get a a second Drake as well for this Going Ghost team. And that is going to be the freest Baron of this team's life. Dragon is started up for the side of XGL here, but they're going to get caught out. I don't think they're going to get this done quickly enough. They don't have enough damage.
No, and it is going to be an engage onto Amumu, but Amumu is there. He has no curse, but it doesn't really matter. He's just there to frontline. Oh my god, Madsen throwing it straight to Narnia, but able to still pick up the kill there. And now they're going to be transitioning onto the Dragon. Jarvan's still there. He gets back into the pit, but now the cancellation of the knockup's going through. And the Unstoppable absolutely whiffs, going straight to Africa with that one. Got a 3-man knockup, though. He's able to put down a couple of bit of damage. He's getting that Heartsteel proc. One more onto the Mumu kills. There you go. Mumu now dead, but the Sign is still tanking. He's coming back alive. Can he get more Heartsteel? Boom. There we go. It's going to be a kill onto the Varus. You surely would think so. Yeah, 700 gold shut down for the Sign. Insane. Caitlyn not able to kite out the Zeri, and that's going to be an ace for Going Ghost.
Yeah, and this is where I think they're starting to kind of separate themselves, right? They are going to outscale this team. That was how it's meant to be on paper. However, they do have the 1-3-1 on the side of XGL. I think they need to start utilizing it more effectively, right? You have the ability to side pressure with the Galio, with the Scion, and they're just not doing that. They're taking 5v5 fights that they just don't win. They have too much counter engage on the side of Going Ghost. They have too much actual engage on the side of Going Ghost as well. And there is a pause. Looks like the top DC for this team as well. Should be back here momentarily, but until then, what are your thoughts on this game so far? It seems like it's kind of blown open here in the last few minutes.
Yeah, I think that Phoenix has been having a couple of very interesting engages, and that's kind of what's dictated the wins for Going Ghost. If he had a little bit better target selection, maybe going onto the Varus more, or maybe going onto the Swain more, so that way you can lock down these targets that don't have any escapes. It's going to be very, that's kind of what I think should have happened in these fights, but instead he's going on targets that do have the escapes, like the Zeri, like the Poppy, where the Poppy can just knock the Jarvan into his own wall and get free stun. And then that ends up him dying very early on in these fights. And then, you know, his team gets wiped out afterwards. But it looks like that's going to be, yeah. We're just waiting for confirmation on the pause.
Yep, it should just be a few more moments.
Wait,
we're back in?
No, wait. Sorry, I just want to know what timer we're supposed to be on.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So I'm just waiting for the pause to quite come through here.
All right.
Okay.
Yep. Love when we do that there, but you know, getting back into this game now, it looks like Team Red, Team Going Ghost here has all of the ability to finally find something. I mean, they're kind of opening this game, as I said, up now 6,000 gold for this team. And they're just taking over the game. They have the Baron buff. They have now 2 dragons for this team. Improvise not hitting that as well, but I mean, it's going to be really tough for, I think, the side of XGL to come back into this. So we're going to have to see how it ends up working out. I think it's going to be an extremely hard uphill battle here. But I think if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be XGL here in this game with the Scion. I think that has a lot of potential here.
Hook lands onto the trap. Now the Poppy's getting cut out. Absolutely everything blown on her. She's already half HP, but a good ulti pushes her away. And then the headshot did literally nothing to her.
Yeah. I've never seen the ace in the hole do such small amounts of damage there. Yeah, I think it might have. Hopium looking for something here. I don't think it's going to end up mattering, but as you said, you know, Phoenix just not able to find the mark on a lot of these engages, unfortunately. And I think that, as you said, you know, that's been a big root of their problem. Also, the Caitlyn having 5 deaths definitely doesn't do them any favors here.
No, definitely not.
That's supposed to be almost all of their damage on this team, and they just haven't been able to find the mark. When you look at it, you have 2 bruisers in the Galio and the Jarvan, and then you have her, right? And so she's supposed to be most of the damage.
The cleanse goes through, but it doesn't matter. The CC is too much, and now we're just going to see a very, very bad fight being taken by XGL. Killing spree now for Sunj, and that's going to be 2 quick kills picked up for Going Ghost.
Yeah, and that's going to be tier 2 going in this bot lane as a result of it all. Cannel just hitting everything at this point. The bandage toss is hitting. The curse of the sad mummies are hitting the correct targets. Basically baiting the ghost out of the Caitlyn in a lot of these scenarios as well, to where it's making it almost impossible for them to do anything with the amount of CC that they're bringing up here. Cannel just going in here.
Oh, yeah, Cannel, not sure what he's doing, but he is tanking tower. He's going to be going down. Poppy now taking down 2. We are seeing a lot of damage now being put down from Galio. Another Heartsteel proc. He's going to be slowing the Chains of Corruption going very wide, and that's going to be just a 2-for-nothing pickup. Very big fumble for Going Ghost, especially when you have a lead like that.
Yeah, a little bit of question mark pings coming out there. They do get the mid turret as a result, but I mean, I feel like they were trying to force something that wasn't really there. The Amumu kind of just walked up, didn't even really use a bandage toss, and I think just got CC'd to death there under that turret. I don't really know what he was looking for there. He didn't have the Curse of the Sad Mummy yet up, so it's like, what are you really trying to do at this point in time? Dragon will be up here momentarily, though. You know, less than a minute going on that, and there is a TP as a result of trying to find these objectives.
Ooh.
A nice steal. Yeah. A nice steal for her. You know, Dragon up here in about 10 seconds. I feel like blue, this XGL team definitely has the first step on it, but I feel like this Going Ghost team is just so much stronger. Yeah,
oh, 5-man Curse of the Sad Mummy straight into all, but the knockup is going to land on the Zeri. Mumu's just getting bursted down. The Jarvan is able to get the ulti. He gets it on the people that he really needed to go on. Now that this Swain is still in the fight, he's surviving for so long. The ulti does go through. The Galio is in there. He's trying to put down the damage. The Caitlyn now taking a big damage from the Swain. Swain is just still healing off of this. Absolutely zero anti-heal. The only person that has bought it is the Galio, and he's not the one targeting the Swain. And just like that, the fight is over. It's going to be a 3-for-1 trade, and that's going to be Dragon putting Going Ghost on Soul Point.
Yeah, and I feel like that last fight was a good just kind of summation of how these last 10 minutes have gone. They don't really have an answer for this Swain, as you said. They don't have the anti-heal except for Galio, and he's not going to be on top of the Swain most of the time. He doesn't really want to engage into the Swain. So you're finding this spot where he's just able to constantly heal, constantly stay alive, and it doesn't matter how much they're putting into him because he's already fed. He's 3-1-13. He's doing a ton of damage. He's able to stay alive with that hourglass as well. And they just don't have an answer to this AP damage here coming out for this squad. And at the end of the day, if you can't kill the Swain, you will not be able to win this game. And that's just showing out here in spades. Now up 8,000 gold for this team and looking to not slow down.
No, definitely not. The Swain is a menace to society at this stage of the game. He already has his Rod of Ages fully stacked. So does the Galio, but the way that the Swain is building pressure and able to just out-sustain and just lifesteal tank in these fights is definitely more valuable than the Galio at the moment. What we need to see, what I want to see, is Jarvan go in with an ulti and then have the Galio follow up instantly. Not have this kind of spread out random chaos fight. I mean, you built the comp around the Jarvan ulti. You might as well get use of that, but we're not seeing it. The last fight was very well done, I think, where you had the Jarvan ult onto two targets where they don't have an escape. The problem is that the Galio didn't ult into that engaged spot.
Yep.
And just like that, Baron is taken.
Yeah, and I feel like also on top of the fact that you need to find these Jarvan targets, right? You need to find it on the right targets too. You need to find it on this Zeri, on this Varus, that are just doing so much damage from the bot lane. I feel like if you're able to kill them early, you have a lot higher potential of being able to kill a Swain. You have a lot higher potential of being able to kill the rest of the team. But they just haven't been able to. I feel like this Amumu has been so proactive on a lot of their engages. Oh, nice advantage toss.
Amumu taking a lot of damage, drops the curse, side mounting only 2 players, and that's going to be Gali going in and pick up kill again onto the Amumu. These junglers just love dying. A good hook lands, but it was onto the Poppy, not the Zeri. Not exactly the target you want to see. They do still have the Baron minions available to siege on this tower with. A nice little pull goes in, but now the hook lands onto the Swain. Swain getting pulled back, but a lot of damage goes on Thresh. They climb over the wall, and it's not punished at all. They're too scared to go onto the Zeri, even though she's staying in tower. Now the Sign is going to be separated from the team with the Swain ulti. Swain ulti putting the pressure. Cute Violet Dragon picking up the kill onto Kartana. And it's going to be an inhibitor, potentially even an end angle for Going Ghost.
Yeah, a 4 versus 3 here. A nice engage.
Yeah, the taunt goes through. Is able to, I hope he's able to pick up the Violet Dragon, but still not enough. Another 2-man pull. The Jarvan does go in. He's able to one-shot that Varus, but it is just going to be basically 2 versus 5 win with the Swain-Zeri combo. Just Swain building a lot of pressure, Zeri just pelting, and it is going to be Going Ghost going in to the lead in this series.
Yeah,
GG.
I mean, a very dominant game coming out of that first, 10, 15 minutes. It looked like it was going to be a little bit more even, and then Going Ghost just really taking it over there in the last few minutes as well. The Scion, 27k damage, as well as the Caitlyn doing 26k for the side of XGL, but it just wasn't enough here. And Going Ghost comes out on top, 44,000 damage from that Zeri Beetle, just absolutely taking over that game, especially in those later moments. And then obviously the Swain just absolutely unkillable as well. I feel like if you're the side of XGL though here, you need to find a different identity here in game number 2 if you want to find the win.
Yeah, the engaged Jarvan going in wasn't the play, it seemed like. Especially the Swain was main the issue. Honestly, I don't think the Zeri would have been that big of an issue if you had something like a Vi, for instance, to go in on them. If we look back at the draft, Vi was actually available for the side of XGL, but no pickup for them. Instead, they prioritized the Jarvan. They really wanted to get that Jarvan Galio combo, but we didn't really see it come out those two combination ultis all that much in this game. I wish I saw it a little bit more. But definitely, if there's a Zeri or even a possibility of a Zeri being picked up, you really do want to be able to lock in that Vi. Even though against the Varus, Vi is still good because you get that single target CC. It doesn't matter if they have cleanse or not. You just knock them up, bop them up.
Yeah, definitely. Well, guys, do remember this is a best of 3, so we still have at least one more game coming very soon. We're going to be waiting to get into that here until we get this lobby set up and everything like that. We're going to go head into a quick break. But make sure you guys stick around. Game number 1 was an absolute banger, and I'm looking forward to more in game number 2. We will be back very soon.
And welcome back, guys, to game number 2 of Nameless Esport Typhoon Gauntlet. It's Going Ghost versus XG Lightning. They swap sides for this game number 2. I believe that XG is the one that chose. They're getting ready for draft. What are your expectations for adaptation here, my friend?
Yeah. I think for XG, obviously, they had a good early game, right? I think the biggest thing is they need to find something that works better for their mid to late game. I would like to see them completely scrap their comp. I think you get rid of the Jarvan, you get rid of the Galio. I think they were okay picks, but they just didn't work out for what this team wants to do. I think you keep the Scion. I think that was a good pick. They played well on it. And I think even the bot lane, I think, played pretty well for the most part. They kind of just ended up losing the 3v3 at the end of the day. So, having that come out, unfortunately didn't work out super well. But going into this draft, want to see different bans, want to see different picks for XG Lightning. Going Ghost, I think, could say exactly the same and they'd be fine.
Going Ghost already has a mirror draft, Rel, Heimer, and then we have on the other side Ash. Same thing. And if we're gonna be following the exact same bans, it should be a Lux coming out too again.
Yeah, I think I would rather have a Lux at this point in time rather than seeing them pick up that bot lane again. I think Varus was a pretty big part of that game. I know he missed a couple ults, but he was putting out a lot of damage there. The Amumu ban coming out, I think, makes a lot of sense. He was finding every single bandage toss, every single curse of the sad mummy coming out onto the right targets as well, which is extremely important for an engaged jungler like the Amumu. He was dying a lot, but it didn't end up mattering because they were getting kills for it, which is what he's meant to do, especially as that engage. Go in, CC as many people as you can, or at least the right targets, which in this case, he was finding those right targets. And then, if you have to die, you have to die. If not, it's great, but he was doing exactly what he needed to do. The Jarvan ban coming out here, I don't know what that was.
They're literally like throwing draft, trying to make them win. Like they're like, don't worry, we'll ban the Jarvan for you, so you don't even have an option to pick it. Now you guys have a winning chance. Like, if anything, I would say like the bigger worry was a Sion, especially how safe of a blind is. I mean, especially when you're going into red side and you have to blind one of your solo lanes, you can just easily pick Sion on R4 and call it a day. This Rammus hover is making me want to. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what this Rammus hover is. It's definitely interesting. Okay, good. At least a Sivir. I'm okay with a Sivir.
Yes.
Pretty safe, especially with Karma. Karma gives you a lot of lane priority, so we're doing good.
Yep.
Wukong, you don't really want to go Vi against Wukong usually, just because like the Wukong can just CC you after you ulti very easily with his ultimate. But we'll see here what they answer in the bot lane. Probably something that can equal out the shove, or at least survive in lane. Maybe like a Caitlyn. They could go Zeri again if they really wanted to. Zeri wasn't terrible last time, so.
Yeah, definitely true. I do like the Karma as well. I think Caitlyn.
Oh my god.
They're running it back with the Caitlyn Varus this time. I think that's even more of a problem here. I'm not gonna lie. I think that's gonna be an extremely hard lane to deal with. That's gonna be a huge bully lane, a lot of damage that can come out extremely fast, especially once they hit level 6. That Varus ult goes out, the Caitlyn trap goes down, you're just dead. I mean, there's not much you can do about it there, unfortunately. And a lot of really easy follow-up from a distance here. Karma in the bot lane hopefully will help with that. Lilia now coming out in the jungle. I think that's a much better pick from the Jarvan here that they saw in game 1. Playing a lot more for the team fight, a lot longer of a brawler than the Jarvan as well. And able to, if they're able to find multiple people in that sleep, could be extremely hard to deal with. The Swain ban coming out here, amazing ban. Get him off the table. Don't let him play Swain again. That was a big problem for them in a lot of team fights. They just didn't have the ability to kill him. He was tanking so much damage and getting so much health back, as well as that Poppy now coming out here. I don't even think Poppy made much sense here, so I think that's a little bit of an interesting play there. The only thing that's really good against here is the Lilia that they've seen so far, but no other dashes are coming out for this team. A lot of speed ups coming from the Karma and the Sivir, and obviously the Lilia as well, but no dashes, no jumps. I don't really know why they're banning the Poppy there. It doesn't make much sense, even though it was a pain for them in the first game. It wasn't the make or break pick. It was a good tank. It did do well into countering a couple of the picks, but it didn't make sense, I don't think, to play here as a result. So I'm not really sure.
It was maybe because I was going to say that if they're banning the Poppy, they probably want to pick something with the dash. Jace has that to the skies.
So
maybe.
My only problem here is who's going to be their front line, right? Like, obviously, Lilia is an okay front line. Pairing it with the Karma makes it decent. But now you're 3 squishies and then kind of a bruiser in the Lilia as well. Like, Jace is not going to be tanky. Karma is not going to be tanky. Sivir is not going to be tanky. I guess technically you could go tank Karma top or something like that, but I don't think that's what they're going to do.
I think that's Annie support, so it might be Varus mid this game. Well, then again, it could be Annie mid, so I guess it could be Varus support still.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt if they're running it back on the Varus support, and then the Annie mid has been really strong with the overall buffs that they've given it. The Gragas could go jungle, could go top, along with the Wukong going jungle top as well. Either or, makes sense. I feel like it's probably a Wukong jungle Gragas top, but we'll have to see how it ends up working out. And now here a Darius getting hovered. I don't know if they're going to lock that in, but if they are, that might be a Darius mid coming out.
Darius mid, that'll be very interesting.
I guess it could technically be a Jace mid too. That I believe that is going to be a Jace mid here coming out for this team. Riven in the top lane, Lilia in the jungle, and then the Karma Sivir bot lane, extremely safe there coming out from them. On the other side here, looking probably like a Gragas top, Wukong in the jungle, Annie in the mid lane, and then a Caitlyn Varus bot lane here. Looking interesting here, kind of running it back from Going Ghost, a little bit different, but basically the same overall composition. And then XG, completely different here.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going for a completely different area. Hopefully here, maybe a little bit more comfort. I think from them. Obviously, we see the Riven in the top lane. I assume he's a Riven player. A lot of
you would hope.
You'd hope, right? If you're bringing out that sort of a pick in this composition, Riven not the strongest champion in the top lane, but if you are good at the champion, can be a very solid pick. And obviously, Jace mid, kind of a weird pick as well. So hopefully it's something that they're comfortable on. I'd like to see more comfort from them because it seemed like they were relatively uncomfortable in game number 1 here. So going into game number 2, want to see a little bit more of that, the ability to play together, the ability to kind of come out and, be more comfortable on their picks overall to where they can play them to a higher skill cap than they did in game number 1.
So I'm just taking a look at the match history right now for that Riven player, for Mr. Kartana,
yeah, I think it's Kartana.
Yeah, and in the last 4 or 5 seasons, he has almost no Riven games, and the only season that he's played Riven often is this one, and he has 4 games on it, 4 losses.
Interesting.
So, very maybe it could be a what's it called, a scrim, scrim diff, where they're just scrimming with the Riven and they are performing really well with it.
Yeah,
and it just happens not to work well in solo queue, but we'll have to take a look at it in the game. But they do run into the issue draft wise, like you were talking about, the fact that they do lack any type of conventional front line. They don't have any way of actually winning any front to back team comp, and that comes into an issue, especially when you have a Sivir Karma who want to have these type of front to back team comps where you're speeding each other up. So it is going to be hard for them in lane. It's going to be hard for them in team fights. It might just end up being trying to find these uneven fights where they go like a 3v2 or a 4v3, if they can find these angles where they can get these odd number fights and win, and then just kind of run over the team like with the ultimates. But we'll have to see. Executions definitely takes a play on it, and like you said, comfort could be a massive part in this game for them.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you here. I think that's going to be really hard for them with that lack of front line, as you said, because this team wants to run straight at you, right? You have the Karma, the Sivir that's going to speed you up. The Riven obviously has a lot of ability with their movement to kind of get around. The Lilia just goes really fast at you. And the Jace also has that speed up on his Hex Gate as well. I think that it's going to be extremely hard for them to get on top of this team, though, when you have the Wukong that's able to knock up, you have the Annie with the stun, you have the Varus that has the Chains of Corruption. So if they hit it on one person, it's going to spread across the entirety of the team or force them to back up. I think it's going to be extremely hard for them to find much of anything here. Forward engage and the counter engage on the side of Going Ghost here just seems to be too strong, along with the relative lack of, I think, ability to be able to deal with this Wukong. I don't really know what they're going to do about killing him or trying to peel him away from that backline of the Jason Sivir. So we're going to have to see how it ends up working out here going into this game. I think, you know, going off of the last game and then going into these team comps as well, I think Going Ghost on paper should be able to bring this out in the 2-0 in this quarterfinal matchup. But I want to hear your thoughts as well before we go into a break.
Yeah, I mean, you basically touched on every point that I was already thinking of. You know, the Wukong's going to be a big issue for them. Nothing much that they can deal with. The Jace knockback is about the best they can hope for when the Wukong engages. You just push him away, but that's not really a viable way of, you know, playing out this game.
Right.
It's going to be definitely difficult for XLG, which they're already on the back foot losing game 1, so maybe they'll have a little bit of fire. If they win lane, they win game. That's kind of what the comp I see that they have. But it's a tall task to have, especially knowing that you are so close to losing the series already.
Yeah, I definitely couldn't agree with you more here. I mean, I guess we'll have to see how it ends up working out. Obviously, drafts, teams, and game number 1 versus game number 2 are extremely different, especially on the side of XGL. So we'll have to see how it ends up working out. Obviously, we have a spectator delay. It'll be a few minutes for us as well. So we're going to go into a quick break while we continue to collect ourselves and get ready for this next game. We will be back after a quick break, but make sure you guys stick around. We'll see you soon.
And welcome back, guys, to game number 2 of this lovely Typhoon Gauntlet. With me on this beautiful day, beautiful cast, is my beautiful man, Krakadonius. How's it going, brother?
Dude, it is going pretty well. Game number 1 was an interesting one for sure. Pretty close for a majority of it, and then just kind of, as I was mentioning before, kind of just broke open. Nice little poke there from the Karma as well. I don't know if he was in range enough to get actually any gold for that, so I don't think it actually matters. But we are seeing a little bit different in these summoner spells as well here. The barrier and the heal coming out from this bot lane, pretty, I think, cocky coming out from this team, saying, "Hey, we don't even need these summoner spells to kill you. We're just going to stay alive and be able to outpoke you as much as possible." Beetle here obviously had a pretty solid game number 1 on the Zeri. Matson did a good job on the Varus last game as well. So we'll have to see how it ends up working out here against Prim and Improvise in the bot lane. I think that's going to be our marquee matchup here. If that Sivir's able to stay alive, does a lot of damage in that mid to late game, and could take over a team fight very easily, especially with the CC coming out from the Riven and the Lilia. However, if they don't win lane, as you said, it's going to be extremely hard for them to be able to stay in it all. Phoenix finishing that first camp relatively slowly here, so hopefully he's able to keep up. Looks like both these junglers are most likely going to be looking towards the top side of the map here in this early game, which I think makes a lot of sense. Obviously, the Gragas, if he gets ahead, could be a big threat. A lot of hope, though. Holy moly.
Not good. Also, if we're talking about summoner spells, I just want to say how greedy it is to take Ghost and not Cleanse, especially when you got cut out many times with the CC. I mean, you have an Annie, you have the Varus ultimate still, and the Varus ultimate into Trap. Thinking that just your spell shield's going to save you is very, what's it called? Confident, I guess, is the word I would use.
Yep.
But we talked about that early aggression already seen in this Varus Caitlyn bot lane. Sivir taking a really ugly trade there. But
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, that was pretty nasty by Matson. The discipline on the arrow, being able to keep it while that spell shield was out, and kind of showing already that maybe Prim isn't going to be reactionary with his spell shields, which is how you need to play Sivir, right? You need to play it relatively reactionary on that E. You can only use it on yourself, so there's really no reason not to be reactionary on it once you see that ability go out.
Spell shield being used very, very loosely. It's a long cooldown in the early game, so it's not something that you want to be spamming all the time, but it looks like Prim is just on cooldown spamming it, hoping that maybe one day he'll spell shield something.
Yes. You know, unfortunately, or I guess fortunately for them, Improvise is putting out a lot of good poke damage onto Beetle here, and the mana is extremely low from Matson. He's been spamming those Qs kind of a little willy-nilly here. And now Phoenix and Kartna.
Flash committed by the Lilia. Not sure if she needed to do that. Now she's going back in. Flash burn for not a whole lot there, and that's going to be definitely a negative for XLG, because now without your jungler's flash, a lot of gank angles aren't possible anymore.
Yeah, especially with something like the Lilia, you can obviously get that speed up, but you don't really have a lot of ability to get on top of people easily with her, and you don't have any ability to kind of chain CC with anything outside of top lane for her as well.
Well, Flash is committed. The slow does connect onto the Varus. The root does connect onto it, and that final Q, and it's going to be first blood surely here. Heal and barrier committed, and that's going to be Caitlyn putting down a lot of damage. Not quite enough to burn. It's going to take away, and that's going to be Phoenix, Flare, slaying Beedell. 0-2 start. Very reminiscent also of how the game 1 started.
Yeah.
XLG was able to pick up the first early kills, and we see them doing that again. Early game going on their side.
Yeah, and I mean, I talked about how Phoenix didn't really have any ability to get on top of people, but when Matson plays so far forward, really just not respecting the fact that they could even come there in the first place, and a really nice follow-up from Improvise. Flash for flashing there, and getting that nice snare off to make sure that Phoenix was going to be able to finish off those two. And I think Beetle getting a little bit overconfident himself and trying to get a trade kill when it really wasn't even close. Both of them going down there, using all of their summoners as well. And they're going to be a big point of focus here, I think, for Phoenix if they want to continue to gain a lead here. Up 1,000 gold, very nice early game lead for them. And they're going to continue, or they're going to want to continue to push this because, as you said, win lane, win game here for a lot of these matchups.
Yeah. Spell shield does go through. Finally hits on the arrow. No damage done. Beautiful. And I'm not sure if that was beautiful or just well played or a bit of a oopsie daisy from the Varus to let it go a little bit too early.
Yeah, I
Maybe
think.
both.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of both. I think it might be better if Matson is using his abilities on this Karma potentially. It seems like obviously the Sivir's getting a lot of shielding. She's getting a lot of her spell shields as well coming out, and it feels like it's kind of a waste of a mana putting onto him. Dragon number 1 though going over to Going Ghost at this point, and I mean if they continue to do this like they did in game number 1. Could be very good for them. Phase Rush coming out for the Gragas as well. I didn't realize that he had taken that. But that'll be very interesting going into that mid game as well, on how he's able to potentially engage on fights and then even retreat out of it if needed. Phoenix now in the top side of the map could potentially look for a gank. Not much vision here at the top side for either top laner, so could potentially punish that on the side of cute Violet Dragon as well.
You know, I'm surprised how unpunished this Riven is going, especially if she has no flash.
Right.
I mean, all I can think of is, don't you just stun her and then alter on her tower? Yeah, like this is like,
Yeah,
exactly like that. That's all I can think of the whole time. Like she's pushing up onto your wave this many times. You're on Gragas. Like you cleared the wave so fast. All you have to do is just alter on her tower, and she's kind of screwed. And there you go.
Yeah, and I mean we're seeing the disrespect I think from both of these teams here early. Just really not respecting the fact that, you know, teams could fully combo here. A really nice freeze coming out here, actually, the bot lane, especially when Kennel's close. You could potentially look for something here. They know that they have vision in that bush, and that's exactly what they're going to look for. Prim is out of position so hard here.
Oh, yeah, both Prim and Improvise going to be getting caught out. The ultimate is committed. The exhaust is committed. Sivir does have her.
Oh, what
ghost,
was that flash?
but it does look like Lilia is going to be able to get a 2-man sleep onto this. No cleanse on either target. It's going to be an easier swipe. A barrier is going to be committed as slam, and it's going to be thank you, ma'am. Phoenix Flare taking up the kill again, and the Wukong does not have ulti. He's getting kited out completely, and that's going to be a kill going over to Prim now. On the other side, we see the Annie getting soloed in the river, and now it's going to be one more auto. Improvise taking that kill, and now it's 1-6 for XLG. Wow, who would have thought this? XGL, my bad.
XGL, I mean, they're just taking what they get at this point, right? I feel like Going Ghost forced way too hard there. You use the Wukong W going before that fight even started, right? So you didn't have that up. You didn't have that cooldown up. And while he's looking to engage on it, instead of using his W like he should have been able to do, he instead flashed into it, didn't have his ultimate. I think maybe he thought he was 6 there. I feel like that's the only explanation. He was 1 camp off of being 6. I'm not sure why he didn't try to go for it before doing that. However, didn't have the ultimate, flashed on them and basically did nothing, and then just kind of killed himself and kind of hurt his team overall because they weren't 6 as well. Just I think a little overzealous, realizing that maybe they have the advantage in terms of the skills of their players, and just being way too overconfident. XGL doing a really good job of punishing that as well.
Yeah, Riven going in. Not sure if she realizes she doesn't win that. The ulti goes a little bit haywire, but he does get her low. This could be a potential dive angle if the Wukong's able to come in. The wave needs to stack up a little bit more, but he is just going to shove it in.
I don't even think he needs the Wukong, to be honest with you, but, you know, given the right combo, I think he'd be able to kill him regardless. However, Jace is coming up here momentarily, so potentially could find something. Looks like he's going to go against it here, but Lilia is pathing that way as well. So we'll have to see if maybe there's a potential 2v2 here in the top lane, as Lilia is looking for a potential gank angle, and now Rift Herald being started up by the Wukong on vision as well, so this is pretty bad for them. They know exactly where everyone's at.
Committed. Ultimate is committed by the Sivir. It's not going to be much, but they counter ultimate by the Corrupting Chains, able to put down a lot of damage. No Q, no arrow going through, just ult for ult. Nothing gained, nothing lost. And it does look like they are going to give up Herald here, but no, the Lilia is here. It's only halfway through. She does drop the slow, doesn't hit anybody, but she is able to get this swipe onto the Gragas. Gragas knocking her back before she could slam. Now the Herald does go through, and it's going to be XGL picking this one up.
Yeah, got to be a little bit
Oh, my
careful.
bad. It's going Ghost. My bad.
Yeah, going Ghost picking that one up there. And I guess we'll have to see how it ends up working out here. Obviously, Rift Herald can be very good in the right hands. However, all of these turrets, only one single turret plating has been taken for the side of going Ghost here so far. So definitely could find a lot of gold out of the right Rift Herald use, but they'll have to find it where they can actually, get a decent push going, get a lot of damage onto a turret. Cardinal definitely showing that he has used the champion before of Riven. I know we were a little bit scared going into this break. It looked like he hadn't played a lot of solo queue on the Riven in the past. However, definitely has a little bit of mastery on this champion from what I've seen of the movement of them so far. We'll have to see how it ends up working out. Dragon number 2 getting started up here for the side of XGL, and they are looking to secure their first objective of the game here. Not even get caught out here. They don't even know that they're there.
Yeah, just a bit of an unfortunate juice box. I just realized that this is actually a completely different mid laner than Hopium.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. this guy's brand new. Juice box coming in. But yeah, gets caught out in that Wukong gank. Really well done with Annie. There's going to be Herald being dropped down for a couple plates. Not going to be the first tower. Just going to bring it down to 2 plates left on that tower. Hopefully Danny can pick up both of those later on the road before they expire.
Yeah, and as you said, yeah, we didn't even notice it going into this game. Juicebox, a completely different mid laner here going into game number 2. Not sure exactly what happened there. We didn't hear anything from the side of production as well on what might have happened with that situation. Maybe a family emergency, maybe, whatever it might be under the sun. However, now, I mean, not doing too bad though, but maybe a little bit of lack of communication, not playing with the team nearly as much on why he might have died there in the mid lane. But with his team being on the Dragon there, just no reason to be that far up into the mid lane. Just play it a little bit safe, wait for your team to get it, or even join them on that Dragon as well. One or the other is going to be your better solution than, being up there, dying, whatever it might be. We're going to have to see how it ends up working out here with Juicebox now in the top lane.
Yeah, you're committing 3 people down here, but the Gragas is a tanky man, so there's not much you can do to dissuade him from a lot of this. He has a crazy sustain too, as you can see, healing up with his abilities, just having a jolly old time. Meanwhile, on the bot lane, we do see a Sivir just wave clearing like a monster. A lot of poke going out onto the Caitlyn, forced to recall there.
Yeah, and that's something I didn't think I would see. Caitlyn Varus getting out poked by the Sivir Karma here. Obviously, they do a lot of damage when given the chance. However, I didn't think that they'd be able to push this in as consistently as they have been. Mana problems, obviously, for the Sivir early. However, hasn't been too much of a problem. 2-0-3 and 123 farm on the Sivir right now. Obviously, doing way better than game number 1 for this team so far. And if they continue to do this, looking to kind of run away with this game so far.
Yeah, I mean, definitely right now, it does look like XGL is in the driver's seat. Speaking of that, though, Ghost going for a gank onto the Riven. Knockup goes through. Flash committed. Potentially a re-gank angle, but it does look like the Riven's going to walk all the way to her tier 2 to get a recall off. Probably the smartest choice she's done.
And he's top as well.
Exactly.
Man.
They're definitely looking for a dive, and she could smell it. But meanwhile, on the other side of the map, we do see the Caitlyn semi-juke the Lilia. Oh, Riven did not smell enough, though. Or I guess she TP'd back in, so I guess confident that with the HP that she has, she can definitely survive this. It does look like maybe in the other side of the map, though, we could see a dive coming down. This slow does not land again. The heal is a bit late on that, but it doesn't matter then. A lot of poke going on to the Karma. Karma's not going down. A lot. And first turret is taking 4 XGL.
Yeah, and I mean, this is looking like a completely different game here. in game number 2 for the side of XGL. Drafting completely different. Cardinal doing a really good job there in the top lane of kind of playing weak side for the most part, and they're able to kind of just put all these resources into Prim, put all these resources into this bot lane, and they've been doing a really good job. First turret going over very easily for them. It wasn't really close, but now mid-tier 1 going over to the side of Going Ghost as well. Going to open up the map a little bit for this Annie and Wukong to kind of roam together as they are doing in the top lane now.
Yeah, I mean, Annie and Wukong now trying to just set up a death bush waiting for the Lilia. If the Lilia gets CC'd, she doesn't really do much. Sweeper does spot her out, but it's not too much. The ultimate is going to go through, but the anti-bear does not get the bear. The flash is committed. The karma shield is going to be enough, and now flash response. Sauce juice as well. Lilia living by the skin of her teeth. And that's a lot of things blown for not a whole lot.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that there. Unfortunately, not able to pick up Phoenix, and now, as you can see with the healing, basically back up to at least half health for now, which means they'll be able to be fine for the time being. Cyclone wasn't used there in that last fight, so could potentially look to use it on the Wukong here for a future fight here in the near future. The pink's going out there in the enemy jungle for the side of Going Ghost. Maybe a little bit cautious, overzealous. Now they do have an eye on Lilia. They're going to know that she's in the bots, or the top side of the map rather, and could potentially look to set up another one of these objectives around that knowledge. Mainly either the Rift Herald or that Dragon number 2 for either of these teams.
Ultimate committed. Now the Wukong is still there. The Cyclone is going to be committed, and that's going to be a kill going onto Cannel. Definitely signs of life you want to see from Going Ghost. Dragon has been started, and like we talked about, Dragon for Herald, the second Herald, Dragon is the bigger priority. Now this is only going to be Cloud Soul, so it's not the most important of souls, but still getting Soul Point or getting 2 Soul Point is still very important.
Yeah, even though Cloud Dragon is probably the weakest of all the Dragon Souls, it's been known that if you get the Dragon Soul, you have a significantly higher chance of winning regardless, right? Yeah, it's been, I think the stats are like 80% plus for all of the dragons. If you have Dragon Soul, you have like an 80% chance of winning the game. So, you know, regardless of what soul it is, it's like a minimum of 80%. So when you know those stats, you know how important these dragons are regardless. For those baseline to your raw stats that come in, you get that extra cooldown, you get that extra, you know, attack speed from some things. And in this case, with the Cloud Dragons, you're getting extra movement speed, you're getting slow resistances, which help a lot for these teams as well. That basically their entire team has some sort of a slow or, you know, things that this would help against. So a pretty nice pickup for them regardless. You know, even though it might be a relatively weak dragon, to have that soul for, not going to be too bad as they're looking to send even more here in the bot lane. Wukong might be in a little bit of a bad situation, as well as Sun way too far forward.
Oh my days, it does look like Lilia is going to be able to get a 2-man sleep on this. Wukong able to get out of the drowsy quickly, but it quickly rooted back into place. The anti-bear was just chilling in the sideline watching his master get destroyed.
Yeah, and now we do see a little bit of pace here in the mid lane. However, we can't, if Going Ghost wants to win this game, they cannot have these people getting caught out. As we see now, 4 people in the bot lane pushing down this tier 2. They're going to push, 3 people are going to push a lot faster than 2 in the mid lane here at this moment. They are going to trade 1 turret for 1 at this point. But Cardinal, I don't think you win this trade, brother.
Ooh. Yeah, Cardinal is just getting absolutely destroyed here. A flash committed, another flash, and it's going to be just him going down. Now it's going to be 3 people pushing on the top side. Now that was 1 tower for 1 tower, but 1 tower and a kill now. A lot of things coming out, though. It does look like that's going to be the end of the skirmish there on the top side. It gets the wave in. Baron is up and available. No team has any type of priority vision on the actual objective. Just some preliminary vision onto blue side. But we'll see here. Maybe they can get something going here. Maybe some Baron dancing. Maybe some recall stoppages that we're seeing here.
Oh, they're looking for an engage.
Yeah, it does look like the knockback's going to be good. The exhaust does go down on the Gragas out of all. The TP is going to be committed for this Riven, and a lot of damage going onto Lilia, shut down onto her. Now it does look like Juicebox is a little bit overextended, but a lot of damage going onto Varus. It's going to be 1 kill going down. Carthan be able to pick that one up with his ultimate, but the Wukong is in the middle, being a menace. He might have to pull his clone out, but no, it's going to be a rampage for Prim. Prim is just an absolute beast. Somehow the Gragas survives this. I don't know why everybody stopped autoing the Gragas, and now it's a complete disaster for XGL. Not 100% sure why they just stopped autoing the Gragas there. They were able to get a Gore Drinker proc, but it's just not going to be enough. That's going to be 4 for 2. My bad, because I forgot the Gragas was alive still.
I can't believe that.
That's just going to be a really good team fight. The gold lead that was monumental at the time for XGL has now shrunken to a measly, like, what is that? That's like
1.5.
1.5.
Yep.
From like, I think it was like 5K at the time.
Yeah, that was an absolute throw from the side of XGL. I don't know. There's no other way to really put it well. That was a 4v5 for a large majority of it. Sunjae was not even in the beginning of that fight. He wasn't there at all. So it was a complete 4v5. You had Annie coming from the mid lane there. And I mean, they had the engage. They had the ability to get on top of it. Juicebox, as you said, kind of overextending there for a single kill. And again, they didn't have the ability to find the Wukong kill either. It took them so long just to kill the Wukong that they didn't have the ability to kill the Caitlyn. They didn't have the ability to kill the Gragas at the end of it all. And then obviously had nothing left for the Annie for her to just come clean up.
And we talk about overextension. Now we see the Gragas going in a little bit too deep. The tower does not go down. He does get CC'd up. He is a tanky guy, but not enough. Prim is going to be now unstoppable. Now, in that big throw that happened, Prim was the lone survivor, so he is still able to keep his shutdown. Dragon is coming up soon, but the Baron is available as well. There looks like they're going to be trading Baron for Dragon. Definitely not a good trade. They are on Vision.
Not at all. Yeah, I think this is terrible.
Yeah, they could have maybe fought this with the Baron pelting them down, and also with Baron debuffing them and giving them pseudo armor pen on them. But I guess they're not confident trying to win that 4v5. Instead, they go for the objective trade. I guess a tower and Dragon for Baron isn't the worst thing. Definitely not that great though.
Yeah, I think overall, if you're gonna look to try to contest that Baron, they have the composition to be able to do it. They have a really good poke comp where they can just kind of throw out Varus Qs. They can throw out, Annie ultimate or Q from a really far distance to where they don't have to completely commit to it if they don't want to. But they can still put out a lot of damage and kind of potentially force them off Baron there, or at least force them into a fight that would get them low enough to where they don't want to take Baron, which I think is ideal there. Getting Baron this early, 23 minutes into the game, with a 4,000 gold lead could be a little bit problematic for this team, especially when this Riven could look to split push, especially when the Jace can look to split push, right? You have pretty solid side lanes. I don't know why Juicebox is going mid right now. I don't think that's the best decision for them. However, I think they need to find a 1-3-1 with this Lilia, shadowing either a side lane or shadowing one or the mid lane to be able to kind of help them out around the map here, because I think that is going to be the best for them at this moment. I think you're kind of wasting the potential of this Jace, keeping him in the mid lane, not getting any of this farm. You can see he's at 186, but the Sivir at 256, it's just not comparable. You want to give as much farm as you can to this Sivir, as she's going to be doing more damage than the Jace in the long term.
Oh, I thought that this was potential all in for them, especially with how much poke they're doing, and the Lilia landing her sleep. Could have landed her sleep on 2 people.
Yeah, on the main targets too.
Yeah. Just the one there. A lot of poke going out. Annie brought down to lower than half HP. Both Annie and Varus forced to recall here now. And this should be mid tower going down. I don't think it's worth trying to int over.
Yeah, I definitely agree
taking
with
a pot
there.
shot.
Yeah, they're going to be able to survive for now. However, they get low very quickly. As much as I've been talking about the poke on the side of
Oof.
going Ghost. You also have a lot of poke from the side of XGL and a pretty good ability to siege like they are right now. But why? Again, why do they have 5 mid? There is no point for it here. The side lanes are pushing out for the side of Team Blue. They have a lot of potential there. Now they engage.
The engage goes through, and that's a shutdown given
Oh my
over.
gosh.
That's a massive shutdown over. And now the Rim TP's into 4 people. Not 100% sure what the decision was there for her. Gets a massive Gold Drinker proc. She's able to survive for quite a bit. Gets the ultimate, but the slow is ticking, and that's going to be her going down. That's 2, 3 already dead, 4 already dead. Just the Lilia alive. Now Tibbers is getting some slow damage done, but it doesn't seem like he's going to be able to pick up anything else other than some slaps on the Lilia. This could be a potential end angle, actually, considering the death timers are pretty long. The Lilia needs to try and clear this wave if possible, or else it does look like GG Going Ghost is going to end this game here. And what a lopsided match. Sivir is coming back up in 5. It's not going to be able to be ended. They weren't killing those towers fast enough. That's my bad. I thought that they maybe could have, but that is crazy. The 5-man mid lane ARAM Fiesta ends up being one of their final nails in the coffin. A mid inhibitor goes down, and that's only a minute and 30 away from this dragon. So now getting that mid priority for this dragon is going to be really hard.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh, what is happening here? The absolute psychopaths. Yeah, they saw the Caitlyn, but they're just ulting. They ult with Sivir, they ult with the Karma, they blow everything. Sivir, absolutely nothing. The flash forward, these guys are just really desperate. They burn everything trying to catch out this Caitlyn, and it's just not enough. Now they have a lot of things on cooldown coming up for this dragon, and all Caitlyn blew was a flash, and it was a flash for flash on the Karma. They're trying to stack onto this bush. They have no vision. Now the Wukong might be just bald enough to be able to walk in, and he is. He goes in. The flash sleep is going to land on only 2 members. The Wukong is able to get the Cyclone, gets a 3-man knockup, gets shut down onto the Jace. Jace is putting a little bit of damage down. Now it's going to be a double kill for the Jace, but that's a lot of blinking health bars. The Lilia is too low to continue on to this. The super minions are in their base. The Jace is who's that recalling? It is the Jace. Jace with no TP is recalling to answer those minions, so it's going to be a 4v3, but the health bars are actually better on the side of Going Ghost. Going Ghost does drop the stun, does not land. The ulti does go through. Huge barrel separates the Riven from the team. Most of their members are half HP already. Caitlyn is literally frontlining. This is nuts. They blow another big cooldown. It's going to be the Shirelius going down. The Varus ultimate absolutely whips. This game is just an absolute mess. Jace is coming out of the base, though. Still half HP somehow. I don't know how he didn't heal up at all, but he's still super low. The dragon does get smited away. The stun does go through. The phase rush is enough to be able to get him escape now. The Sivir ulti is able to pop again. They're trying to get the Lily to get on them. The slow is consistent. Now the Caitlyn is dropping a lot of damage. The Wukong has rejoined the battle. This fight just doesn't want to end. Super minions are now going to be hitting the second wave. One more wave and they'll be hitting that. They're trying to stop the recalls. The Gragas really wants to get on that. The Wukong blast cone's a little bit awkward. The spell shield's able to go through the... Oh my god, what just happened in this fight? The Gragas flashes, misses the cask, and Prim able to hit a Gale Force onto that. No recalls are committed today. A tower goes down. What is happening?
I feel like both teams are just trying to lose at this point. I'm not gonna lie.
This is wild.
Yeah, as somebody said in the chat, nobody wants to win. I don't know what's happening here, but it seems like when one team gets a lead, they just try to throw it as much as possible here. Baron is up.
Oh.
And you have 15 seconds on this Gragas. I feel like you should probably go for it. But at the way that these teams have been playing, it might just not be the call.
No, Gragas respawns in 5 seconds, then they don't have enough people to commit to it. They're just going to get the vision and get out. But my god, is this the most... This is one of the few... I haven't seen a game like this in a while, I'll be honest. Where like both teams are just going this back and forth, I guess, is the best way of putting it. Again, the ultimate's committed, the Shirelles is committed, like, just...
There's just no reason for using these cooldowns for a potential kill that they don't really know if they can actually kill this Wukong or not, I feel like. And then, as you said, they're using these cooldowns like the Shurelias. That is pretty important. They don't have the Gale Force up at this point, so this Sivir is a walking, kind of like a sitting duck for the most part. If they get on top it's going to be really hard for them, I think, to play a lot of these fights. The biggest thing is going to be how they play with this Lily.
Good trap line from the Caitlyn, able to separate a lot of the team. The Wukong is able to get a 4-man knockup onto them. Now the Wukong is going to be going back with the low HP. The Bear stun is going through. The cast is not enough. Somehow Fenix is able to pick up the kill. Looks like the DOT was enough. The poke is not quite enough. Exemplary hits onto Lilia, but nothing else is going to come out of it. A lot of blinking HP bars, but it does look like they can maybe 4-man. Lilia does have to recall. She's way too low to try and join this. They're going to try and force this Bear and try and force them into a chokehold, into a fight. They don't have enough cooldowns, though, I don't think. The Bears doesn't have corrupting chains or anything. The TP is going to be coming through from the Riven. Riven has a little bit of flank angle. She lands a 4-man knockup. No stun to follow up just quite yet. The Caitlyn just pelting, able to pick up a kill. The Caitlyn finally goes down. The Gale Force is committed. The Spell Shield is blocking nothing. And now it is a 4v3. Wukong is respawning in 4 seconds. I believe that's going to be the go sign. Another poke lands, and he's recalling. And that's going to be the end of the fight. It's just so interesting. This game is going to be a 40-minute fiesta for sure.
The Karma ran into a trap that she knew was there. That's the thing that gets me more than anything else. They knew that they were there. They saw them earlier, and they still ran into their line of traps, right? She had those traps down from the beginning of that fight. They basically just let her get a free kill onto the Karma, which is somebody you cannot let die at this point in the game. You can't let the Sivir die. You can't let the Karma die. Those are the people that are going to be winning you these fights because of their ability to support and put out damage. Now, Karma just can't make these mistakes in this mid game. Now we see they have the priority on the Baron. However, we've already seen it a couple times of them not attempting to commit to it here. I feel like that's something you should be doing at this point in the game. Clear that ward for this Riven. I feel like you need to commit to either Soul in a minute or 45 seconds, or this Baron here for the next 45 seconds. I feel like you need to look for something, because if this Gragas continues to split push, it's a bad sign that they're, looking to get continual damage. Gragas might be a little bit too far out, though.
Yeah, they're committing a lot of people topside. Gragas will just drop a couple of pokes, and here we go,
really
popping the Shurelias one more time. And the Blast Cone is going to get him out to safety. Sivir is ulting now onto that.
Yeah, this is so bad. No.
She committed the Gale Force 2. The Gragas able to just blast cask his way out. And that's a lot of ultimates. Now they're just spamming onto the Baron. They're trying to get the Baron. They're trading Baron for their Soul Point. But that's going to put also going Ghost on Soul Point, funny enough. So unless they get something crucial out of this Baron, it's really going to be for nothing. The TP is going to be going on to the ward there for Cute. And that's going to be Dragon going down now. So both teams are Soul Point. Annie able to stun and just going to pop Ghost just to be able to survive. Well, we're going to have a really interesting game state now. Baron, this is the second Baron of the game. They're still trying to commit onto the Gragas. Gragas able to just survive here, just to drop a little bit of slow. I'm not sure what that stopwatch was for, but it's, I guess, buying some time. The stun goes through a couple ultimate. Oh my god, the Caitlyn damage is just insane. He's getting on a killing spree. Primus also on there. The spare stun. It's going to be two people going stunned up. Wukong is still there in the fight. The Sivir's popping Ghost. I'm not sure what that ultimate was from the Caitlyn. Point blank, she flashes forward, misses everything.
Oh god!
What is happening? I'm so confused. The Caitlyn is in auto range, and she ults. She tries to Q the Karma, not enough to be able to kill. This is just so very interesting. That's 3 Barons down to, so that's actually well worth 4 going Ghost to trade 3 for 3 in that, considering that now you only have to worry about 2 Barons. So that split push that we were talking about is definitely going to be less helpful. And if we look at the top wave where the Gragas was pushing, there's some minions there. In the tower. Why?
Yeah, this is something else, man. I tell you what. I feel like they're finding like the worst of every single team fight possible, right?
Both teams.
Yeah, both teams, right? I don't know. Somehow both these teams are just playing these team fights terribly. And I feel like for the most part, it's kind of working out in XGL's favor, but barely. Just because they've been able to find the better of a lot of these objective trades overall. You did have that inhibitor go down early. That's a non-factor now. It doesn't really matter. You found the Baron a couple times now. And I feel like that's been able to keep them in this game for as long as it has been, and could even, put them into a point where they're in a really bad position, or where Going Ghost is in a really bad position here, going into these incoming team fights. Caitlyn getting a really early ult off. They find the Wukong, which is exactly what they need to do. They need to find vision on this Wukong. As long as they know where he is at, they should be fine. They won't get flanked. They won't get 4-man ultimate like they've gotten in the past as well. That's what they need to do.
Yeah, the Tibbers just goes out trying to clear the wave. Again, they still have only one Baron up available. It is just going to be the 5-man Fiesta here, and the NA ARAM in the bot lane. A lot of poke going down onto the Annie, going to half HP now. She's going to have to recall for this, but they're not able to buff this up. Baron has officially worn off. The poke is pretty good, though, on the side of XGL, forcing 2 members to recall already. But there is no wave to push in anymore, so honestly, I'm not sure why Going Ghost is defending the tower with no wave. Now, right now, you could walk up a little bit because, you want to clear those minions. Once those minions are cleared, you can just kind of sit back, relax. They can't really hit the tower. Mid wave is something that I would want to prioritize. Like, we'll have to clean this wave. I don't want them. What is going on here? They're just going in and engage. They're going to one-shot the Jace. The Wukong is going to be going in really hard. It's going to be an absolute slobber, though. 5-man sleep. The one-shot from the Riven. It's just going to be the gold bar. It's just the wall. It's slapping them. Insane engage from Phoenix Flare. And it does look like we're going to be going to game 3.
Wow, and what a play there from Phoenix. Finding the 5-man sleep with the Lilty Lullaby. That's going to be the mid inhibitor. That's going to be the Nexus turrets. And that's going to be game number 2 going over to XGL.
Yeah, just like that. Tied up the series. We're going to game 3.
Wow. What a slobber knocker right there in game number 2. I don't know why that game went the way it did. Started out 6 kills to 1 for the side of XGL, and they made it really hard to find a win there. So going into game number 3, 1-1 now for these two teams, and I don't know what's gonna happen coming out of this game. Honestly, I really don't.
It's gonna be definitely interesting going into game 3 here. I mean, I'm not 100% sure who's gonna take it now after watching that. Very close game overall. I mean, before that last fight, the gold was literally throwaway 2K.
Yep.
Obviously, it ended in a 10K gold lead, but that was mostly because of the last fight just being an absolute ace, and then on top of that, them taking the base.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see how it ends up working out in game number 3. We're going to be back really shortly. Looking forward to more action. Obviously, a very sloppy game number 2, but looking for potentially something different, but looking for an exciting game 3 regardless here. In a few moments, we're going to head into a quick break while we are getting the lobby set up, and we will be back very soon.
on. Keep moving on. And they say I have a grim sense of humor.
Welcome back, guys, to our final game of Typhoon Gauntlet. We got XGL versus Going Ghost on Ice, and we already have started the draft. It's going to be Lux being banned on XGL side, and then the Rel. It looks like we're going to see a little bit of repeat so far on the draft itself.
Yeah, sorry guys for the delay as well in between games. We had a few technical difficulties with a couple of our computers on the setup, so we are still working on getting those resolved. However, we're going to go ahead and go with the draft, get that done, and then hopefully we will be able to get all of our people back into the game as we see fit. Ash ban coming out here as well. Again, pretty similar bans to game number one, which didn't go so well for XG Lightning. However, I'd like to see them continue to pick similarly to how they picked in game number 2 to hopefully find another win.
Yep. I mean, so far, game number 1 draft is looking like same thing. The big adaptation for them was not banning the Annie and leaving it open and banning the Mumu instead. So I'm guessing that they're going to do the same thing here. Yep, and a Mumu ban. Now the Hammerdinger and the Rel have gone banned again. Now they might be looking to ban that Wukong one more time, get it out of here, so that way they have they can have a priority of maybe potentially picking up a Vi.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing, as you said, potentially a Vi here, some sort of engage. I think coming out from. I think both of these teams, the Wukong ban coming out for the side of Going Ghost actually here, which is a little interesting. They picked it blue side last time. Now, not being able to pick it here in game number 2 kind of limits them a little bit here. I think that was a solid pick. Last game obviously had a little bit of problems with everything that was happening with the jungler. Yeah, obviously, he's the one that has the technical difficulties. But I think he played pretty well for the most part. Had pretty solid engages, a lot of big knockups on the Cyclone, so I'm interested on why they're banning it here. Maybe, I guess they just didn't want XG to pick it for themselves. However, I'd like to see that come out. The Zeri here coming in for Going Ghost as well into the Sivir. Obviously, game number 1, Beetle popped off, so I'm looking forward to it.
I am begging for a Vi pick. Oh my god, please just lock in Vi. Oh
right.
My god, somebody, any side lock in Vi, please. It's so free. Maokai's open too. Like Maokai Vi, oh please, just one of those. Just lock in Maokai or Vi, please. I'm begging. Sona, Sivir, very hard scaling. You're not going to be winning any lanes with this, though. You're going to be just kind of going for the scale and going for the late game. Sona, probably one of the hardest scaling champions in the game right now. But I really, for my mental, I want to see a Vi pick up here from blue side.
You're like please.
I'm pegging. Just, like, if Vi's not that hard of a champion to pull off, you press R on the Zeri. She literally cannot do anything to escape you. Yep. It's so free.
Ooh.
Mordekaiser, that's... same thing, I guess, but the difference is that if she does take QSS, she can't escape.
Yep.
I can't remember if Cleanse also lets you escape that.
I don't remember. I don't think so. But
I don't think so, because usually Cleanse is for stuns that are non-ultimate related, or just regular stuns, or CC. So I'm guessing that she probably does have to pick up QSS, but that's pretty easy pickup. And they pick up a Maokai, that's pretty good. Now, if I'm red side, I do ban the Vi because you have a Zeri locked in. You have the Maokai, which is an answer to the Zeri. And
well, I don't know if you do ban it, because this could be a Mordekaiser jungle. Which is, I know it's an interesting pick, but I've seen it quite a lot, especially the Plat Elo, that it's definitely usable in the jungle. So I don't know. I don't know if you end up banning the Vi.
Well, maybe they don't. Maybe they just ban the Lily instead, because, if at Poppy ban, I guess they are planning on picking something that has dashes in this B4-5 area. We're now looking at potentially another jungle ban targeted, or maybe even a top side or mid ban. You could kind of try and lock that in. But we'll see here what they're going to go for. I mean, Silas right now would be a good ban because Silas has a lot of great ultimates to steal from, or should I say the Maokai specifically. Like, the Maokai ultimate's really good. Instead, they go for a Victor, an immobile champion that could have easily been kited and also engaged on. Okay.
Yeah, interesting second ban there. I think, as you said, the Silas works perfectly with their team and makes sense with the Poppy ban. Gwen ban, I just don't know what these bans are. I'm not gonna lie. The Lily ban was the only one that made sense to me. Maybe it's more comfort for them. I'm not really sure, but it doesn't seem to make sense. Gwen isn't super great right now. They already have the AP damage, so there's no really reason to pick the Gwen because you already have the Maokai and the Karma that are going to do enough for you. The Gnar getting locked in here. Okay.
Pretty safe top laner. Yeah, and then an Ornn answer.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yep.
So we're looking at probably some type of AD mid. We could look for a run back on the Jace, or we can just go all AP and then make the Maokai just unkillable. Yep, that also works too.
Okay, yeah, the Sivir is the only one that's going to have a chance at killing this Maokai, I guess.
We're going into, so XGL seems to be going for a super scaling comp. They want to go to the late game and just slam them with their champions. But it's, I mean, if they just pick something early, or no, I guess we just go casting and we're just going to have like a 50-50 in 40 minutes.
Okay, great. Yeah. So going Ghost, going for that scaling mid laner in the cast and very good into Talia as well. I mean, good into most AP champions, let's be honest, especially AP mages. I think scales very well still. Not as good as it was at the beginning of the season. However, I think it's still okay, especially into their specific comp. Works out and can still kill that Sona, kill the Sivir extremely fast, kill the Talia very fast. I think their biggest problems is who's gonna deal with that Mordekaiser at the end of the day. It is a Mordekaiser jungle. If he gets ahead, that's gonna be a pain in the butt for anyone to deal with, because he's gonna be doing tons of damage. A lot of champions on their team are gonna have a hard time killing him. Zeri might actually be the easiest to kill him, but still not going to be easy. And also the fact that the Mordekaiser can do so much damage himself to their entire team as well is going to be very hurtful, I think, in the long term. So I guess we'll have to see how it works out. I really do like the Sona pick in the late game, at least. I think Sona Sivir is extremely safe lane in the early game, and then scales extremely well into the late game. Scales better than Karma, in my opinion. So I guess we'll have to see how it ends up working out here. Game number 3, XG Lightning versus Going Ghost. What are your thoughts, man? What are your thoughts on this game? How do you think it's going to go?
Well, I mean, both teams kind of went for semi-scaling comps. On the side of Going Ghost, it's semi-scaling, but on the side of XGL, it's like hard scaling. So seeing how the last game went to about 37 minutes, I am going to give it to XGL here on the final game, thinking that they're going to be able to pull out a W here.
Yeah, I think I, for the most part, agree with you. I will say, however, if they get this Caston going anytime early, even before level 16, and then obviously once he hits that level 16 power spike that he does have, he could just take over a game absolutely 1v9. So I think for that reason, I'm actually going to go with the side of Going Ghost here, purely for this Caston, right? Yeah, it's good. Plays really well in Talia, really well in the Mordekaiser, really well into Sona, and has the ability to one-shot the Sivir. So I think for that reason, in that reason alone, I'm going to go with Going Ghost and kind of be the opposite to what you said as well here. You know, trying to be that other side of the coin,
contrarian,
right?
The contrarian.
Right. Contrarian. I try to play that as much as I can. It didn't make sense last game because we both thought it was going to be kind of a blowout, but we saw it go back and forth as well. So I guess we'll have to see how it ends up working out here.
It does seem like Going Ghost has a little bit more cohesion when it comes to mid game, late game, and XGL finds like early game leads, which again I find it like I'm saying XGL, But the thing is, this team, like for the last 2 games we saw them, performs decently well in the early game, gets a good lead, and then throws it. And then it just happened that in the second game, they had such a large lead that even though they threw it multiple times, they're able to somehow catch it out and get the win in the end. So we'll see how this goes. I mean, if it gets to mid-game fights, and I think that this is what I think. Honestly, I think that if Going Ghost goes even in the early game and then they transition into mid-game, I think they win. But if XLG is able to find their early game shenanigans like they usually do, then they're just gonna be able to snowball, and they won't have as many horrendous throws in this game, specifically because it'll be a lot harder to throw with the comp they drafted.
Yeah. I definitely agree with you there. I guess we'll have to see how it ends up actually working out, because obviously we can say all these things, but we saw in game number 2, everything doesn't go exactly as planned 90% of the time, especially in these Platinum tournament games. So we'll have to see how it ends up working out. But we're going to go ahead and head into a quick break, and we will be back very soon. Make sure you guys stick around for game number 3, XGL versus Going Ghost on ice. We'll see you soon.
And welcome back, guys, to our final game of the night in this Typhoon Gauntlet. With me for this last game, as always, Krakadonius. We're here to provide some illustrious explanations of this final game.
Ooh, I like the vocabulary coming out. We kind of ran out of things to say, I think, in the first two games. So, like,
Yep.
what else could we possibly say about this series that hasn't already happened so far? We have an interesting matchup for sure, but we'll see.
One thing I can say is that we are having the Classic Invade, the Karma going for some early poke, able to get some gold.
Yes.
And it is, an insane gold lead already, winning for GG. Might as well FF at 15. I was kidding.
I mean, hey, you're up 20 gold, 100% gold lead on the other team. They don't have any gold at all. So,
yeah, it's big diff.
I mean, you can't possibly compare these two teams at this point. It's just not even fair.
No.
I mean, yeah, as you said, got to FF. Matson won the game for his team. Going Ghost on Ice here, though, struggled in game number 2 pretty significantly, especially in that early game. Tried to come back in that mid to late game as well. And it was all really on the back of Beetle, I think, for both of these games so far. He's done 40k damage in every single game so far. And we're going to need another performance just like that if they want to win this one, too.
So one thing I do want to take note on is item stock. We see that the Sivir went for a call, so she is clearly going for a late game scaling build. Now, for me, the weirder one is the fact that the Gnar also took call. So he isn't actually trying to fight this Ornn, it seems, or at least try and hard win this lane. He's going to be trying to farm out against the Ornn, which I think I would have rather him start with a Dorn's Blade and just try and go for these aggressive trades, especially when you're going something like Fleet, where you do want to consistently trade with it. But, we'll see how the call works. Maybe he'll be able to get an Item Spike earlier. You never know.
Yeah, I guess it will really, come down to, who's able to hit those item spikes quicker, who's able to hit their level spikes quicker. Obviously, in the mid to late game, finding that Sona in early team fights is going to be extremely prevalent as well. But overall, you have pretty good engage coming out from these top laners and even from these junglers as well. And who's able to kind of use it more effectively is what this game's going to come down to at the end of the day. Is the Mega Gnar going to be able to use effectively? Because I know that is a big pain point for a lot of lower elo players, being able to find effectively these Mega Gnars that are actually able to be used right, and just not using it too early or too late behind a fight to where it doesn't really mean anything, right? So I think that's going to be the big thing, because obviously Ornn, you can use it whenever you want, right? You can just press R, it's good whenever. Gnar is a lot more conditional, and so it's going to come down, I think, to how he's able to effectively use his Rage Bar to work well around these team fights.
Oh, well, we do see some early shenanigans happening here. Ornn able to dash away, flash, committed, and it... Ooh. Oh, well, yeah, that's just going to be the end of the gank. Maokai says hello, throws a sapling, and walked away.
Yeah, fortunately for them, they do get the flash, so he's going to have to play a lot safer here in this lane. Obviously, you do have that that dash on your E to be able to help get away from it, but if you don't have that carried with at least your W or a flash, it becomes a lot harder to be able to use that effectively in a lot of scenarios. And then if he ends up engaging at all, like he looked like he was trying to do here, potentially with that Q that he put up, that little pillar, if he uses that too offensively, his dash, he's going to be an absolute sitting duck, even with the amount of tankiness that he does have in this early game. Just like that. Yep, exactly.
So one thing I do want to note as well is the summoner choice for the Ornn. He decided not to go for Grasp. He decided to go for Unsealed Spellbook. I think that's definitely the right play. You're not going to be in range to auto this Gnar, presumably, unless Gnar is just griefing and is melee ranging you this whole time. So going the Unsealed Spellbook is definitely the correct call, meaning that flash burn, yeah, it sucks, but he will have maybe potentially another either offensive or defensive summoner. Could be a Ghost where he could just Ghost out of the way. Could be an Exhaust where he could just, slow them down, or even a Barrier. I'm very curious to see what summoner choice he's going to go for coming up here, but he hasn't picked up any summoner yet. So I hope to see him choose something soon.
Yeah, definitely will be nice to be able to use that, as you were saying. I think makes it a little bit safer in the laning phase too. You could always trade for something like a exhaust that would help with the trades against the Gnar. Maybe even potentially an ignite that would help with the Gnar transformations too. Because obviously that gives a little bit of health back every time you transform on the Gnar. So could potentially use that for a kill pressure. I guess it really depends on what he is planning on doing in this lane. But so far, doing a pretty good job actually up in CS right now, which is kind of unheard of for an Ornn lane, I feel like, in most scenarios, especially against something like a Gnar that's supposed to be bullying him. I know he took Cole, but it is supposed to be a bullying lane for the most part here, so a little bit interesting of a lane. Actually has a freeze here too, which is super nice for him as well. Dragon number 1 kind of snuck there a little bit for the side of XGL here. A really nice pickup for them in something that they really haven't been looking at a lot of early game objectives for them in games 1 and 2. So a little bit different pace for them.
Oh, a little bit missed timing on the dash there to try and get the knockup, but the stun actually lands on the pillar, using his own pillar against him. Now, that is Mega Gnar being burned, so he's not going to have that for a little bit of while. Meanwhile, the Ornn does have TP available to be able to get back to lane. No mana on him, so he probably is going to clear this wave and then recall. He could TP to try and shove the wave and then answer TP from force TP out of CVD, but I don't think that would happen. I think that instead he's just going to walk to lane.
Yes, definitely probably the case there. I feel like this team, though...
Oh, never mind, it TPs.
Yeah, he does TP there. I mean, he probably could have walked to lane. The wave's kind of neutral there, so I don't think it would have pushed or pulled to him too far. But as I said, or as I was saying, rather, this team, especially this red team of Going Ghost, is kind of like a ticking time bomb of sorts with the Kassadin, with this bot lane as well. Oh, and the flash coming from Improvise. I don't know if he needed to flash there.
No.
I don't think he did. I don't think they had enough damage to be able to kill him effectively, even if that snare did end up landing, rather. Especially the fact that he has that exhaust. I would so much rather him use the exhaust than use a flash there in that scenario. That's going to make him extremely easy one to kill.
Top lane, the Ornn does have his flash, so the gank is a little bit late now because Ornn can flash away. He's not going to, though, because never mind, he just commits the flash just like a psychopath. He gets stunned up, he gets rooted up, he's not able. Oh my god, how did that ulti land? What the? Okay. The ultimate goes through, first blood is for the Gnar, but the Gnar presumably will be going down here. Flash committed by the Gnar, he will be able to survive this Mordekaiser most likely. There is no flash on Mordekaiser, he only has Ghost, and he already procced it. Talia ults in, but not quite far enough to be able to actually catch up to the Gnar, and that's just going to be a 1-for-0. Zeri popping the Ghost, he's going hard on that. The exhaust is finally burned down. Now the Sivir pops her own Ghost and also her ulti. She's going on to the Zeri, but the Zeri is going to be committed. She spell shields absolutely nothing, still gets rooted by the Karma. The heal does go through for Karma, and that's just going to be everybody blowing their summoners except for the Sivir flash and except for the Zeri flash. And a good trade in the mid lane for Sunj.
Yeah, we'll figure out how to say his name eventually. I have no idea, personally. But as I said, continuing to be a ticking time bomb there in the mid lane. So making sure that nothing is happening is okay for the time being, but you are going to need to address this Kassadin sooner rather than later and hopefully help him from scaling, because he is ahead in farm. Top lane obviously got that solo kill as well and got out alive, which is very nice. The fact that he was able to get out of that, not dying to that, that death realm, which is going to be, I think, important to find those fights where they can find something and get away really quickly. Nice engage here, though. I don't think it'll end up being anything, but getting a little bit of poke damage there from Krakadonius as well.
Yeah, just top laners smacking each other around,
Top laners doing what top laners do. Yep. It is what it is. And now Krakadonius able to stay alive for as long as he's able to. and really able to sustain, I think, in a lot of these lanes, especially the fact that he's able to buy items too. As you can see right here, a really good example of it. Can't be hit though, so that'll reset it for now. But he is able to buy items in lane, which is kind of OP. I mean, it's not super OP, but it's pretty nice to be able to have that. But
I'm just checking the chat log here to see if at any point Ornn has swapped the summoners, and for the last 10 minutes where his summoners have been down, he has not swapped it once for anything new. He actually had the flash cooldown go off cooldown before he could swap it to anything else like a ghost or even ignite. And even at this point, you know, like your TP is still on cooldown. You might as well swap that for even an ignite at this point. Just drop the ignite and then have some pressure. But the fact that he's not using his summoner, or sorry, he's not using his rune, is very interesting to me.
Yeah, I don't. Oh, he just used it now.
Okay.
Put Ghost up finally. But as you were saying, he hadn't used it before that.
So now he has Ghost, which is still good. You know, this flash is down, so getting an escape tool and also an engage tool is good. Mordekaiser and positioning for potentially another dragon take, but it does look like we are seeing improvising a death. Canal now ulting, not being able to catch out the Mordekaiser. The Zeri is able to get right on top of the Sivir. Sivir flashes. Spell shields absolutely nothing again. And that's going to be another 3. Oh, they engage onto the Ornn. He is ghosted, so he'll be able to catch up. And just like that, claps his 2 hands together, killing CBD.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think, personally, I mean, obviously, you hate for your Gnar to die there, but that's a huge, huge find there for the side of going Ghost. Sunjae now getting a little low. You gotta respect the Talia damage, man.
Sinjay is not respecting it, but he does have the Karma nearby. Talia is able to pick this one up. Nope, Nona decides to slide that kill steal, exhaust the Karma. Ooh, is improvising a lot in this game, it looks like.
He's improvising something for sure.
Yep.
Unfortunately, gets that kill there on the Sona rather than Talia, which is pretty unfortunate, to be completely honest with you. You'd so much rather have the Talia get some extra gold in her pocket. She's obviously going to finish this item on that back, which is nice, but she'd be able to get so much more with that kill onto the Kassadin as well. And unfortunately, just I think poor execution so far from this team. 2 kills to 3, so they're definitely not out of it. And they're actually up gold. However, they're just not playing super well so far in the start of this game. So I'd really like to see something happen here to where they can kind of one team or the other can kind of open it up, like we saw in game number 1 as well. But it's going to be hard to see if that's going to be possible here.
So we have a Frozen Heart first item for the Ornn. Just does not want anybody auto attacking him apparently.
Yes.
Definitely an interesting first item buy, but good against the Gnar because it does make him, you know, have that poke that he has a lot lower. He has to rely mostly on his Q now, not his autos. So he might not be able to get this hyper procs that he really wants to get on the Ornn to chunk him out. Next objective coming up is going to be that, actually it's going to be Dragon, which is going to be Chemtech Soul, which is going to be pretty cool. I haven't seen Chemtech Soul this whole match series, so hopefully we'll have some good brawls going on that. Oh, wow. Spooky.
Ooh, that was close, yeah. Yeah, if you see that come over the wall, you run immediately. Especially since he is level 9 at this point. He has that ultimate available at any time. And that's a scary ultimate, especially now that they changed it here in the last, you know, half season or whatever it was, where it goes extremely fast now, covers a ton of area. That's definitely scary to have to deal with. So, you know, whenever you see him, try to get out there as much as possible. He has too much CC for you to be able to deal with, for this lane especially.
Ooh. Good damage onto the Maokai. Maokai needs to be able to auto-attack to heal, so not able to do that. Gets to slow into the Mordekaiser, but he is going to try and blast going over to his red buff maybe. Nope. Gets spotted out by the ward. Vision Scarsloom, should I say. And it is going to be a battle for the red buff here. It started up by Phoenix. And now the Ornn's going to be engaging onto the Gnar. Dashes away, just able to chunk him out. And it looks like they are just gonna keep dancing around this red buff for a little bit. Mordekaiser's blast cones away, and that's gonna be the end of that invade.
Yeah, and both these teams playing a lot slower pace than they did in games 1 and 2, realizing that their tournament lives are on the line here in game number 3. And I think if anything, it's probably better for Going Ghost that they aren't doing much of anything. This team fight looks pretty dangerous with the Zeri, Kassadin, as well as that Maokai to be able to kind of get a really nice engage and extra CC out for a lot of these teams. So, you know, if they're able to use it correctly, I think could be really good for Going Ghost here. If they're able to keep this game kind of even. Very aggressive invades coming out here, though, from Phoenix over the last few minutes. And if he continues to do that, could put the Maokai actually pretty far behind. Only a couple camps behind right now, but if he continues that, could be pretty dire for them. Because the Maokai really can't 1v1 at this point in the game, especially against the Maokai, or the Mordekaiser, rather. So, you know, seeing him look to try to punish that is pretty good.
Yeah, we got 30 seconds roughly on the next dragon coming up now. It's going to be a good dragon to fight for because this will be this is the first dragon for the soul. So you want to be able to get that early. It basically is Evan Shroud when you get the soul, like Evan Shroud on everybody, which is a pretty good item already. Orange just kind of poking out. Oh, is he trying to try this Gnar? He's going to dive a Gnar? Nope, he misses his ultimate. He just ults nothing and walks away.
Yeah, that was just I think that was just a sign of superiority. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was no reason for him to necessarily do it. I think he just wanted to say, "Hey, I can do this and still kill you later." You know?
Yeah.
So you know, maybe that's what he's just trying to do.
Halo drop on the bot side, trying to get some bot side priority, but the blast cone is there for the Maokai if he wants to go for some psychopathic engage, but it doesn't seem like he wants to do anything crazy just quite yet. He is aiming for maybe a potential engage there. Meanwhile, it does look like XGL is just gonna walk from bot side all the way to the mid lane and just forgo the dragon, giving up the vision control.
That's so weird. I don't know why they did that.
Yeah, they're just gonna give up dragon for it looks like a mid tower.
Orin
does have TP.
Surely they can't go for tier 2 here. Oh, there's a TP coming in.
TP coming in into the side, and now we're gonna try and have a front to back, but they're on the other side of the map the wrong way. The tower's behind them. They can't kite out. It does look like the Mordekaiser's gonna go in on the gauge. Who is he gonna ulti? Absolutely nobody. He's just walking around. He ults the Gnar. That's actually a really good ultimate because the Gnar is actually not gonna land on anybody. Now, we are just going to have a really big fight right now. Zeri's taking a lot of damage from the Boomerang Blades.
Whoa.
Boomerang Blades are going to be going 2 kills, 3 kills. That's going to be a triple kill already down.
Whoa.
For Prim. Prim's flashing forward. An absolute psychopath. Juice box able to get another one. Kassadin decides to go in, gets the kill. He gets a double kill. But it is, in the end of the day, a 3-for-4 in the side of XGL. And I just want to say, really well done by Phoenix to be able to ult that Gnar mid-jump, making sure that his team does not get Gnar ulted into them. That's really crucial. Now they're going to pick up the second Herald. Not the biggest consolation or team fight win prize, but overall, that's a lot of gold in their pockets. 2K, 1K-ish gold lead. 2K gold lead on the side of XGL. Pretty good stuff overall in that team fight.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. And I mean, we saw a nice 4-for-2, but the double kill does go over to the Kassadin. So I mean, that's going to be pretty solid. He's stacking up that tier right now, and you can see he does have that Dark Seal purchase as well. So the more kills he gets, the higher he's going to scale, the more damage he's going to do. And as we know, a late game Kassadin does a lot of damage already. So getting those stacks early is going to be extremely important for him to be able to find those, that mid to late game success overall. But as we saw during that fight, one time and again, we keep seeing Beetle just absolutely pop off in a lot of these team fights. Got the triple kill there. Did end up dying at the end of it all. But, he was a big reason on why they were able to keep that one so close. Prim doing his work on the side of the Sivir as well. Kind of untouched for a majority of that until that Kassadin finally found the kill. But doing a really good job so far on the Sivir as well.
Or just doing more things while we wanting a Kassadin. Why not? You know, Kassadin forced to.
Missed again.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I guess he was not forced to ulti, but yeah, just Ornn doing Ornn things. Maybe if he had a summoner swap there to maybe an ignite or an exhaust, he can maybe land that ultimate. Not sure. I really want to know if he's able to swap his summoners. I'm actually gonna click his character to see. Yeah, he can swap them at any time. He can swap them to anything he wants.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see how it goes, honestly. I mean, he's obviously not using that summoner as he should be, right? He's kind of going in between Ghost and Flash, but like that's about it. So I'm not really sure why he ended up taking it. Maybe it was just suggested to him.
Yeah, he might not be comfortable on it. Again, technically, on pure technicality, he is really good against the Gnar and against range matchups. Just because, again, I'm like, what the? Huh? What was that ultimate?
It was an ultimate, man. It was an ultimate.
You just burn it, I guess. Just burn everything. Just burn this game. Like,
dude, who needs it, man? Who needs it? You know?
Yeah, it's a handicap. That's what it is. She's trying to show dominance. Like, you know, she doesn't need her ultimate. We'll win this game. You know, just everybody blow your ultimates, please. Just the Sona ultimate. The Ornn ultimate's back off cooldown. You got to use it if it's off cooldown, you know? Like,
yes, yeah, right. Yeah, if it's on cooldown, it's good. If it's off cooldown, you
need to press it.
Like allergic to it, dude. I'm allergic to having my R up, dude.
It's very interesting. Back to the rune choice again. It's good against the Gnar, against range matchups in general. I'm guessing probably maybe somebody suggested that because they're like, well, how do you expect to stack your grasp and get a grasp proc on a Gnar when he's just gonna outrange you the whole time? And he was probably thinking to himself, yeah, that's true. And then went the rune choice, but didn't really think of, how should I use this rune? You know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He hasn't been using it effectively, unfortunately here, and we
Radiant
can see
Virtue.
Oh. Okay, I mean, that's going to be a lot of healing for his team, at least.
It will be a lot of healing for his team. Definitely.
You know, that plus Sona is very nice, honestly.
And actually, we already took to level 14, so Ornn will be given these ornaments. His first ornament is going to be onto the Sivir. Now we're already going onto the Kassadin. Kassadin chunked out. Not sure why you landed the ultimate on that when you had 4 people literally stacked in the river. We're ulting now with Sivir, trying to get onto somebody. But no, we're just going to go into the dragon instead. We're going to Fiesta for the dragon. They're doing a lot of damage. The Kassadin is around 2/3 of HP. The Mordekaiser, or Maokai, still has his ultimate. He just kind of saunters in. He decides to ult point blank onto the Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser ults. It looks like it's the Maokai. Gnar is able to get a 3-man Gnar onto the wall. Ornn is just frontline the whole time. Zeri, out of all the characters, gets the dragon. They do get the kill. First kill onto the Gnar. Second kill onto the Kassadin now. Maokai going down now too. Sivir is got a lot of damage with this Kraken Slayer build. The pushback. She somehow is not autoing the Zeri, but here we go finally. It's going to be an ace for XGL.
Oh, they're looking for the end.
And they're going to push for the end. 23 minutes. That is a good Talia ulti. Trying to get onto that. The Herald is dropped. Ornn, tank it up. Please don't kill the Herald. Please let the Herald live.
No.
Okay, Ornn has all the tank items in the world and instead lets the Herald die. So this will not be the end of the game. It'll just be an inhibitor. Instead of picking for a Baron, and they're probably going to go for a Baron and a reset.
That was a misplay. I would rather die as the Ornn and take the turret.
Yeah, you take the turret and the Herald lives, and then you're able to end. But instead, they want to just keep the game going. You know, they keep the fun times going. You're fed. You want to just limit test at this point.
Right, yeah. Game number 1 didn't go their way. Game number 2 was a big question mark. I mean, maybe still a warm-up in game number 2. But game number 3 looking pretty solid for them so far. However, and I say this with as much however as I can say, they threw something like this in game 2 basically and let the other team come back. And it was almost exactly the same.
And in game number 2, Going Ghost didn't have the champions to scale up in the late game compared to this game here, where if they do get one of those like late game fights going in their favor, they can start snowballing really hard off of that. Now I will say this, the fact that XGL has gotten this lead already and it's over at 25 minutes and they haven't had a massive throw yet is a pretty good sign.
Yes.
What I really want to see here, and honestly, the only person that we should be seeing Mordekaiser ult is either the Zeri, the Kassadin, or the Gnar. I do not want him seeing ulting the Maokai, because Maokai, even though, yes, he has some CC, it's not as impactful as a Gnar ultimate into the 4 wall, because he Gnar ulted 3 people for free, while the Mordekaiser was just, you know, bashing in the Maokai. Now, thank goodness that the Sivir had Kraken Slayer, had her items already, so she was able to deal with the Gnar, but in a different scenario, that could have been a very bad fight, all because of the choice of ulting the Maokai in that fight there.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I think Maokai might actually be the worst option, as you were saying. Like,
yeah,
I couldn't think of a worse champion to do. Maybe, I mean, Karma, I guess, maybe, but even she's not too bad, because at least you take out the support out of the fight. Can't, you know, team shield or anything like that, but and you know it's going to be at least summoners or potentially a kill for her as well for the stat steal. But I'm just not really sure like what is going to be the defense here.
Oh, incoming Ornn ulti. It lands onto 2 people here, and it's just going to be an Ornn ulti to dissuade them from pushing any further into the tower. They're going to be able to knock down this second inhibitor, and they're just going to back away, go for a reset, it looks like, and then try and push out bot lane. They're not going to go for anything crazy. They just want to go for a clean end. They're not going to try and risk it for any quick end. They don't want to finish the game off too rash. Instead, they're going to go for the clean, concise victory of taking every single tower, every single objective. Dragon is going to be coming up in a minute 20. They might even go for that. Baron is probably around finished here. It's not gonna be up for very much longer. So then I don't think they're gonna be able to get the. They might be able to get this tower down with the Baron buff, but after that it's gonna be dissipated. So they're not gonna be able to get the third inhibitor just quite yet.
It should actually be going off here in like a couple seconds. So I don't think they'll actually get up anything here. Going away right now. So yeah, unfortunately, for the side of going Ghost here, I think whatever they did, from this game to last game, it seems like XGL got a lot more calm. I think they're looking a lot more calm. They're playing to close out games like they're supposed to be closed out, I think, for the most part. They're not taking risk. They're playing risk-averse gameplay here, at least over the last few minutes, to where they are taking minimal risk for good reward, right?
Yeah.
And if you continue to play this way, it's really hard to play against as a team that's already behind. They're down 8,000 gold at this point. It's almost impossible to come back with a team that is not making mistakes. I will say, we've seen them make mistakes in the past. They look like a different team this game. Probably not nearly as razzled as they were in game 1 and 2, because they didn't do well in game 1 at all. And game number 2, I think, showed them, hey, they have potential to do well, but I think they were still really frustrated and a little bit mentally handicapped in a way of, not being fully mentally there. This game, they look a lot more mentally collected. They look a lot better overall. 11 kills to 5, and they've been playing they've been playing aggressively, but I think calculated in that way as well.
We do see an engage onto the Karma. Karma going down almost instantly in this fight. Ornn able to get the knock up onto the Gnar. Gnar's going to be going in, trying to get a big Gnar ult. He gets 4 people when none of them are stunned. He does get some damage, but the Kassadin is now going on to Talia. But the Mordekaiser very smartly ults the Kassadin, or was it did he ult the Kassadin? I'm not sure who he ulted. I'm so confused. I think it was the Kassadin. Ends up going down there. The Ornn able to pick up the Maokai. Now Zeri's more suitable is popped. She is going to be shielding herself up there and able to escape, but that's going to be all 3 inhibitors now going down. Definitely looks like this could be a game-finishing push here for them. Karma's going to be up in 5 seconds. Mordekaiser is kind of low, though. Kassadin is stacking up his ultimate right now. The only big frontline they have, and that's just going to be 3 inhibitors sticking out, a recall, and they're probably going to go for one more Baron and go for the end after that.
Yeah, they are playing cool. They're playing calculated. They are, as I said, risk-averse. They're not trying to take any big risks. Now with triple inhibitor, there's basically no way that you can contend. Unfortunately, this Baron, there's nothing you can do. You have waves that are going to be pushing it, especially with these um, uh, double super minions. There's not much you can do other than clear these waves for the next 5 minutes or so until these inhibitors start coming up again. So unfortunately for them, they're kind of handicapped here. They could potentially try to go for a Baron steal. However, even with that, you could force a fight with it. I think they have a big enough lead. Almost
Yeah.
a 10,000 gold
They
lead
don't even have to
now.
start it. They don't
Yep,
have.
they're
They
just
just
going for a fight. Yeah.
Yeah, they can just stall it out, force them to keep checking, force them to do something else, and then let them waves just kind of keep crashing into their base. If they send too many people to this Baron, then the waves just are not going to be good.
Yep.
And if they don't send enough people to the Baron, then it's just a
They
really
just take it.
easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, the best out of the worst situation that they put that Going Ghost has is just leaving the Maokai here to try and go for steal by himself and not send anybody else.
Wow. And this Ornn doesn't take damage either.
Nope.
That's scary.
And just like that, the frontlining Ornn is able to zone them off. Baron goes to the side of XGL. They are now going to go and quote-unquote run it down mid.
Yeah, I don't see any way that they could lose this situation. 10,000 gold lead, Baron, triple inhibitor. Well, I guess double inhibitor right now.
Yeah, the
But
only
they're
way
gonna
that
go
they
get
lose,
triple,
yeah,
but-
the only way they lose this is very, very simple. Mordekaiser ults the Maokai, and then Gnar lands a 4-man ulti. That's the only way they
Yep.
can survive in this game.
Yep.
They have, and that's relying on the fact that the Mordekaiser is gonna ult the wrong target. Now Maokai does have a flank. I don't know if they win this at all. They have no waves. Both teams have no waves. So they're just kind of just posturing, trying to poke out, but it does look like the Maokai is going to go in for the all-in. The Gnar is not able to get the ulti at all, and that's going to be just 2 kills already quickly picked up, and just like that, it is going to be the game. He does get a 3-man Gnar, but it's not going to be enough. The Zeri is just pelting away, being an annoying little mosquito, but absolutely nothing that she can do in this game. Triple kill to finish it off for Prim, ending the game in 8-2-8. GG, well played. XGL, move up in the Gauntlet.
Wow, and what a game from them as well. I mean, really dominant fashion. 18 kills to 5 for the team. 5-0-10 on the Talia, 8-2-8 on the Sivir. I mean, from top to bottom, this team looked completely different than they did in the first 2 games. And looking like an actual composed team coming out here and playing team ball of sorts, and they looked super good. I'm actually looking forward to watching them in the semifinals game as well, because if they play like that, I think they have a really good chance of being able to make it pretty far in this tournament, despite how their first 2 games looked.
Yeah, I mean, honest to God, I think that our jungler in XGL, Phoenix, showed the most growth out of any of the other players.
Yep.
He had a very rough, very, very rough game on the Jarvan in the first game, but then stepped it up really hard on the Lilia, having that crucial 5-man sleep to end the game. And also in this game, showing off on the Mordekaiser, getting some crucial ultimates on key targets, making sure that his team was able to get some good teamfight wins in the mid game, and then propelling them towards the late game.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more. I also think Prim, did a great job in the last 2 games as well, putting out the damage on that 80 carry role, that he was able to finally find something that ended up working out for him. Unfortunately, game number 1, they did not fall short, or they did not find the victory, but the last 2 games, a nice little, quote unquote reverse sweep in this best of 3 for the side of XGL. And looking forward to them in round number 2. That is the last game for us tonight, though.
I do want to say one thing as well, just
Yep.
to shout out one of the, shout out Going Ghost. I want to say that Beadle did perform very,
Yep.
very well as well. Had 2 really good games on
Yes.
2 different ACs, and even on this Zeri game, which was definitely a more rough lane, he still put down 15k damage in this only 30-minute game. So,
Yeah.
Shout out to Beadle for doing what he could.
Yeah, literally. I think he was trying to carry as much as he could. And I think in the first 2 games, he did a very valiant job. Even this game, did a pretty solid job too. But when you're this far behind, especially as an AD carry, it's extremely hard to find any sort of thing. You're not able to scale as well. and you just can't find those power spikes that you were able to find in the previous games as well. However, really great games from both teams. Obviously, that game number 2 was a little bit of a fiesta, but we'll take it as long as we get to see some really solid quality gameplay there that we got to see in that game number 3. And XGL going to be moving on into that semifinal bracket tomorrow. But having said that, thank you guys so much for stopping by. Appreciate it all. Quick shout out to Alls as well for producing for us today. Really did a great job in helping us out. And also, shout out to Lee or Golden in the chat for putting this whole thing on as well. But any parting thoughts for you, Fluffy, man?
Nah, I mean, thank you everybody for watching. We appreciate you guys coming in, staying tuned, and watching these very interesting and fun games in this gauntlet that we have running. And I hope to see you guys all coming back next week and getting ready for that semifinal too.
Awesome. We will see you guys very soon.